The verdict, as expected, has sparked a political showdown.
This is I would say, slap on the face of the arrogance of the Gandhi family. ये जो घमंड है गांधी परिवार का, और खास करके जो गांधी परिवार ये सोचती है कि हम कुछ भी कर लेंगे और हमारा कुछ नहीं बिगड़ेगा, आज सूरत के अपीलिएट कोर्ट से ये सिद्ध होता है कि कानून सबके लिए बराबर का है. This was not death of democracy of India. This is a blow on the arrogance of the Gandhi family. ये लोकतंत्र समाप्त नहीं हुआ है. ये जो घमंड है गांधी परिवार का और खास करके राहुल गांधी का, उसके ऊपर एक बहुत बड़ा आघात है कोर्ट के माध्यम से.
Voice of Rahul Gandhi is not to be silenced in the manner that the BJP thinks it can do. The BJP has been, in a sense, from Mr. Modi downwards to the government, to the ruling party, captured in a fear psychosis, if I may say so. They have unleashed lakhs of trolls and trollers against Rahul Gandhi. They sometimes threaten you with privilege notices, sometimes with suspension, but they do not know the stuff Rahul Gandhi is made of. They do not know the resilience of the Congress.
Rahul Gandhi could be looking at a long legal battle ahead. His first aim will be to get a stay on the conviction, which will enable him to get his parliament membership back. Unless he gets a stay, Rahul Gandhi will not be able to contest the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. With Anisha Mathur and Saurav Aktania from Surat, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, viewers, so what has resulted is a big political blowout. Let's cut across to our two political guests this evening from the BJP and the Congress. I have Dr. Guru Prakash Paswan, spokesperson Bharatiya Janata Party, Adil Singh Bhuparoy, spokesperson Congress, joins us. Dr. Paswan, the fact is, at one end, there is stress that what is taking place is due process of law, and Rahul Gandhi is paying the price of what a common citizen needs to pay. Then why at the back end of it completely politicize this due process of law by saying that this is a slap on the Gandhi family's face, it's a rejection of arrogance and so on and so forth. What we've seen through the course of the day with the commentary that has followed.
Preeti, a very warm good evening to you and my fellow panelists. We must understand that in this country we have rule of law. There is constitution and there are institutions of constitution on which the constitutional principle runs. Judiciary is one such institution. And our constitution categorically mentions that no one is above the rule of law. Today's decision, it is the victory of rule of law. It is the victory of the Constitution of India. It is the victory of the vision of the makers of Constitution of India and the victory of the marginalized sections of India as well. You cannot make any comment, you cannot insult the marginalized section and get away with it. You look at the trajectory of Congress party from Baba Saheb Ambedkar to Sitaram Kesri to the Honorable President of India, Draupadi Murmu, to the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi. What have they said? And they can run away from it? No, you cannot run away from it after insulting the aspirations of the marginalized sections. At the one end, you try to speak on behalf of the concerns and aspirations of the marginalized section on different issues. And on the other end, you have historically always made derogatory statement detrimental to the respect and recognition of the disadvantaged communities. Today, I am sure whatever Mr. Rahul Gandhi is, and we must also understand that Mr. Rahul Gandhi has a very interesting and a very complicated relationship with the judicial process, with the courts. He is out on bail. In 2018, when he insulted the chowkidars of the country, he apologized. He apologized to the apex court of the country. He had an option. He had an option to apologize to the Ghanchi Samudaya, to the Ghanchi community, to the OBC community of Gujarat and across the country. But he chose not to apologize to the OBCs, to the backward sections of the society. Okay. What else would we be waiting for?
But, Dr. Paswan, what you're quoting,
absolutely,
right, Dr.
no
Paswan,
one is above the rule of law, Preeti.
Fair enough. But what you're quoting of what happened in 2019, he did not apologize. He did not apologize for the Chaukidar comment. He apologized for his comments on Rafale. So differentiation there. Having said that, I want to bring in your co-panelists, and I'm going to come right back to you.
He did apologize. That's
he
the point.
apologized for Rafale, not for insulting the Chaukidars of the country, which you insinuated. That's all I want to correct you on. But I want to bring in
that was a related case. That was a related case.
But it wasn't. It was
that
nothing.
Was a related
it had
case.
Yes, but Dr. Paswan, it had nothing to do with Chaukidars. It had only to do with what the comments he had made in connection with Rafale. But you say that it's a win of the judicial process of the country.
Exactly.
So tomorrow, if there is a stay by the High Court, would the BJP still be saying that? We're going to come right back to it. But Adil Singh Bopara, I want to come down to you. If there is, the Congress continues to say we did not insult the OBCs of the three Modis he spoke of. 2 are not even OBCs. That's your argument. But even at the back of it, if the OBCs of this country have taken offense at all and there is a defamation case, what stops Rahul Gandhi from apologizing and moving on?
Well, Preeti, as a preliminary point, it is ironical that the Bharatiya Janata Party, a government which vigorously defends gang rapists and murderers, is sermonizing the country on the rule of law. The BJP, with impunity and brazenness, murders the rule of law day in and day out, but that's for another day. Now, coming to the issue at hand, let me categorically clarify on behalf of the Congress party that the speech delivered by Mr. Rahul Gandhi at Kolar in Karnataka was in the context of economic fugitives fleeing this country. And those economic fugitives who were aided, abetted, and facilitated by none other than the Prime Minister of this country. It is common knowledge that Nirav Modi, Lalit Modi, Mehul Choksi enjoy close proximity with the highest echelons of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Point number 1. Point number 2. Why is he interrupting me, Preeti? Why is he interrupting me?
He's not interrupting you at all.
Point number 2. It is unfortunate and an insult to the intelligence of an ordinary Indian when the Bharatiya Janata Party brings in the caste element. There is no casteist overtone to Mr. Rahul Gandhi's imputation. It was one line from a 2-page speech.
Okay.
Delivered in the context of it.
Okay, Mr. Boparoy and Dr. Paswan, I'm going to just come in, and the reason why I'm doing so is there's big news coming in of a terror attack. What we can confirm, there's been a terror attack which has claimed the lives of 5 soldiers in Rajouri. The vehicle caught fire due to likely use of grenades by terrorists on the Poonch-Jammu National Highway. That's the latest news that's coming in, disturbing news at that, emerging from Rajouri, Poonch. These are visuals that are filtering in. 5 Jawans have been confirmed killed. Was a convoy attacked? We still, don't know. Initial information suggests that there's been a terror attack. What we can confirm, it could be a grenade-based attack. We're trying to get a larger understanding. Was there a convoy that came under attack by terrorists? But what we can confirm, and sadly so, is that 5 soldiers are killed already. A vehicle in this convoy has caught fire due to likely use of grenades by terrorists on the Poonch-Jammu National Highway. So it seems there was a convoy of the army, and grenades were hurled. And one vehicle that you see on your television screen caught fire. The impact of that grenade has led to the unfortunate demise of 5 soldiers of the Indian Army. We're going to try and get an understanding on what unit that they belong to, what exactly happened. But these visuals filtering live on your television screen of 5 soldiers being killed in a terror attack in the Rajouri Poonch area. What we are given to understand is that terrorists flung grenades on an army cavalcade, and one of the vehicles caught fire, and the impact of which has led to 5 soldiers of the Indian Army being killed. Connecting to my colleague Abhishek Bhalla for more on this news break. Abhishek, what more can you add?
Well, Preeti, it's confirmed by the Indian Army now that this was in fact a terror attack. The incident took place a little while earlier, but the initial information was in fact quite sketchy. And at that point of time, the army was saying that it seems to be just a case of an accident because the vehicle in which these personnel were traveling in, it caught fire. But now the army statement clearly states that there were bullets fired first. There was low visibility because of the rain and the weather in the area. And after firing bullets, there were also grenades hurled at this vehicle in which these army personnel were training, were traveling. After the confirmation that the army has given out, there is also information trickling in that Defense Minister Rajnath Singh has been apprised by the Army Chief General Manoj Pandey on the incident, and the senior leadership in the Defense Ministry is very closely monitoring the situation, ascertaining other facts, and trying to find out whether this was in fact an infiltration that took place, or were these terrorists already in the area from before.
Abhishek, would you give us a trajectory, because this is not this year in itself. There have been at least 3 more attacks by terrorists on army convoys, if I'm not wrong. The third one coming in now, which you've just confirmed. Shiv is also joining us, our senior executive editor. Shiv, what more can you add to this news break?
Preeti, absolutely shocking case, because when the information about this incident came out earlier today, we had the story on our channel as well. It was believed to have been some kind of a freak fire, possibly even a lightning strike on the vehicle. All of these theories had been doing the rounds, Preeti, at that point of time, alongside the horrific images that we saw from near the Poonch Bimbar Gully area. Now, this was a routine convoy. There are understood to have been some other trucks as well, but those were unharmed. But this is an area that is fairly wooded, also a mountainous area. It was raining quite heavily, quite dark, and the army has now clarified. Earlier today, they had put out a statement about the incident itself, confirming the loss of life. But it is only now that the Northern Command, Preeti, has come out with a specific statement saying that unidentified terrorists opened fire on the vehicle. Now, opening fire on a vehicle is one thing, but they also say it's likely that the fire was started as a result of a grenade being flung at the truck. So the 5 soldiers were killed right there in the truck itself. There was some kind of an explosion for sure, because you can see the remains of soldiers outside the truck. 1 soldier has been evacuated to Srinagar for treatment, but he is said to be critical at this time, Preeti.
So 5 soldiers unfortunately killed. Abhishek, what is also worrisome in all of this is that it's taken this long to confirm that this was a terror attack. Okay, Abhishek is not with us, but Shiv, highly worrisome just the way, the incident has developed right now, because if it was an attack by terrorists, they've clearly got away.
At the moment, the information that we have, Preeti, is that a search operation is on in that particular area. Remember, the Poonch Bimbar Gully area is not very far from the line of control itself. Who the people were, how many were there, in which direction they've disappeared to. Could they have been from across the line of control? None of this information is there just yet. You're right. It has taken a while to confirm that it was a terror attack. But I imagine that on the ground, the army has its own processes as far as information release is concerned, because of the sensitivity of the operations. Now, the soldiers who've lost their lives in this attack are all Rashtriya Rifles soldiers. Okay. They're all part of counterinsurgency operations, in that local area itself, Preeti. I'm guessing that Rashtriya Rifles units themselves have already been activated now for the cordon and search operations in that area. It's a populated area. The Bimbar Gully Poonch area has a number of villages, not very far from the line of control. So this is going to be an extensive search until the perpetrators are found.
Shiv, this is not the first attack, yes, in the army, where the army is concerned, yes, the first this year in the Rajouri area sector, but not just very long ago, just a month and a half ago, many civilians were also targeted by terrorists in exactly the same area.
That is correct. The Poonch highway is an extremely sensitive highway, Preeti, and that's the reason why a huge number of very detailed protocols have been laid down for road opening parties. There are advanced parties that conduct surveillance to ensure that the road is completely sanitized all along the route for both military and paramilitary vehicles. There can be absolutely no lapse in this regard, simply because every time there is a small little lapse, it can easily be manipulated by local elements. So That's the reason why it's going to, we'll have to wait and see what the investigation tells us. Was there some kind of a lapse as far as intelligence was concerned? That we can safely assume to be the case. But was there some kind of lapse as far as laid down, very strictly enforced and laid down protocol as far as road opening parties is concerned? That we're waiting for right now.
You
but
know, I want to bring
extremely
in,
worrisome.
right.
You're right.
Shiv, I'm going to just bring in Abhishek into this conversation because Abhishek, just take our viewers through what is the SOP. There's a strict protocol when convoys move in, high alert areas such as this. What could have really happened?
Well, whenever there is a convoy moving, whenever there is military movement, Preeti, there is a road opening party. Now, what that means is that there are troops on the ground. They needn't necessarily be always army personnel. It could be the Central Reserve Police Force that is also deployed in Jammu and Kashmir, and it could also be units from the army. So that's a standard operating procedure. There will always be a road opening party. Now, whether this was an ambush is not clear because we've not heard from the army saying whether there was retaliatory fire from the army personnel as well. But what is known is that first there was a volley of bullets fired at this vehicle. In all probability, this was a single vehicle. We don't know whether it was a big convoy. And then there were grenades hurled at the vehicle. And that's the confirmation that army has given. It's an area which is always been very sensitive. It's close to the line of control as well. This area has also been used for infiltrations in the past. The area that falls south of the Pir Panjal range. In fact, when there is heavy winter or heavy snowfall in the upper reaches in North Kashmir, these are the areas where the infiltrations happen from. The army needs to ascertain very quickly whether this was a fresh infiltration that has taken place, whether there were local terrorists involved in this incident, or whether these were terrorists who had infiltrated from across the line of control and were taking refuge, staying in the area around where this incident has taken place. Bimbar Gali in the Rajouri Pune sector is primarily a military station. There is very little civilian population in Bimbar Gali per se, but around the area there is a lot of civilian deployment as well. So it remains to be seen whether it's a fresh infiltration or whether terrorists were actually staying in some place in one of those residential areas.
All right, Abhishek and Shiv, appreciate you joining us. The optics of a convoy of the Indian Army being targeted in Jammu and Kashmir are damaging, but trust the Indian Army to be at a war footing to figure out on what exactly has gone down and what led to the loss of 5 Jawans is what we're given to understand. So yes, it was a grenade attack. It's a terrorist attack that has taken place on this convoy. We're going to keep getting you the latest but sensitive story that is coming in right now in terms of both information and what the fallout of it could be. Thank you for joining us. Up next is Rahul Gandhi.
Justice, liberty, equality, the pillars that built India. A nation where everyone has dignity and opportunities to prosper. But today, over 75 years after independence, Dalits remain a community trapped for centuries by the caste system, languishing in a dismal state. Nearly 20% of India's population is Dalit. Dalits still live in abject poverty, excluded on the margins, facing atrocities, toxic untouchability, and no opportunities for economic upliftment. The father of India's constitution, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, fought all his life for the upliftment of Dalits. In the past, many state and central governments have made big promises, but it has been nothing more than lip service. Basic human rights have still not been delivered. Dalits remain downtrodden and discriminated against. This shocking reality is a national shame. Few have dared to break the cage of caste discrimination until now. Friend to the downtrodden, upholding human rights and dignity, championing Ambedkar's India, KCR is showing India and the world our revolution is sparked in Telangana through his path-breaking scheme, Telangana Dalit Bandhu. Approximately 17,50,000 Dalit families called Telangana home, and now they are calling Telangana the land of opportunity. Thanks to Dalit Bandhu, launched in 2021 by the TRS government, a world-first scheme which will give each Dalit family an astounding financial boost of 10 lakh rupees. There are many more schemes along with this which are under implementation all over the state. But Dalit Bandhu is a specially designed program for the upliftment of the Dalit community. It has an unprecedented objective to uplift 17,50,000 Dalit households with a one-time capital grant of 10 lakh rupees per household, 100% subsidy with zero repayment, delivered via direct-to-beneficiary transfer, with a dedicated Dalit Bandhu scheme help desk and monitoring committee at village, mandal, district and state level, and a 10% reservation for Dalits in profit-generating schemes, government contracts and licenses. In addition to this, Telangana has another visionary program for Dalit students, residential schools and colleges, and Ambedkar Overseas Vidya Nidhi, a 20 lakh rupees overseas scholarship, giving them the most powerful tool for success, education. Huzurabad 2021. The Telangana Dalit Bandhu pilot was launched. Telangana's Dalit Bandhu is a path-breaking scheme that places absolute trust in the beneficiary. Each household has complete freedom and flexibility to decide its business and how to grow their dreams.
నేను వచ్చేసి ఫార్మసీ చదివాను సార్. దాని తర్వాత యాజ్ ఏ ఫార్మసిస్ట్గా చాలా ప్లేస్లో చేశాను సార్. ఎప్పుడైతే మన తెలంగాణ గవర్నమెంట్ ఈ దళిత బంధు పెట్టిందో అప్పుడు ఇంకా నాకు ఎప్పటి నుంచో నా ఓన్గా బిజినెస్ పెట్టుకున్నామని నాకు అంతకుముందే ఉండేది సార్. మన టీఆర్ఎస్ గవర్నమెంట్ దళిత బంధు స్కీమ్ ఒకటి పెట్టి నా ఓన్గా నేను సెటిల్ కావడానికి ఒక ఆపర్చునిటీ క్రియేట్ చేసింది సార్.
Households were identified as beneficiaries and the direct benefit transfer of 10 lakh rupees was made. Each family unit was free to decide how they wished to invest this 100% subsidy. It could be a single or multiple businesses. Multiple beneficiaries could pool their resources to build a bigger business. It could be in any sector of their choice. The sky was the limit. In no time, the stories of transformation began rolling in. These are just a small fraction of the 40,000 success stories that Telangana has empowered through the Dalit Bandhu scheme. In just 1 year, it has smashed records for any Dalit upliftment scheme in the country. Till date, the Dalit Bandhu scheme has been implemented in all 119 assembly constituencies in Telangana. Beneficiaries have achieved prosperity for their families. They have also created opportunity for their community by providing employment and revenue. The resounding success of the Dalit Bandhu scheme has energized the TRS government to accelerate its efforts. From 40,000 beneficiaries with an outlay of 4,441.8 crore rupees, now Telangana government has raised the Dalit Bandhu budget to reach about 2 lakh beneficiaries with an outlay of 17,700 crore rupees, making this the world's largest direct benefit scheme.
దళిత బంధు వచ్చిన తర్వాత ఈ 10 లక్షలు అనేది మామూలుగా అందరికీ ఆపర్చునిటీ రాదు. ఇది పూర్తిగా గవర్నమెంట్ వాళ్ళు మాకు 10 లక్షలు ఇచ్చేసి మీ ఇష్టం ఉన్న వ్యాపారాన్ని పెట్టుకో అని చెప్పేసి అనడం వల్ల మాకు ఇంత ఆర్థిక పురోగతి కలిగింది. అదే కాకుండా మేము ఇంతకుముందు ఒక దగ్గర వర్కర్గా పనిచేసిన వాళ్ళం ఇప్పుడు ఓనర్గా ఉండగలుగుతున్నాం.
Never before has such a revolutionary scheme been designed to end caste discrimination, where Dalits receive 100% opportunity along with 100% dignity.
దళిత బంధు పథకం రాకముందు మేమైతే చాలా స్ట్రగుల్స్ ఫేస్ చేసాము. దళిత బంధు పథకం కింద మేము ఈ ఎంబ్రాయిడరీ మిషన్ ఎంచుకొని పెట్టుకున్నాము. నేర్చుకున్న వరకునే నేను ఫుల్ఫిల్ చేయాలనుకొని ఈ ఎంబ్రాయిడరీ స్టార్ట్ చేశాను సార్. ఇచ్చినందుకు చాలా చాలా ధన్యవాదాలు కేసీఆర్ గారికి, తెలంగాణ ప్రభుత్వానికి కూడా మేము ఎంతో రుణపడి ఉన్నాము.
ముగ్గురం కలిసి ఒక యూనిట్ పెట్టాము. అంటే 30 lakhs పెట్టి ఒక వెహికల్ను ఇప్పుడు అమెరికన్ టూరిస్ట్ షాప్ పెట్టాము. బాగానే నడుస్తుంది ఇప్పుడైతే. అంటే నేను జాబ్ చేసేవాడిని, ఇప్పుడు ఓనర్గా అంటే ఒక కంపెనీ ఓనర్గా ఇప్పుడు ఫీల్ అవుతున్నా. చాలా హ్యాపీగా ఉంది.
జీవనోపాధిగా మిషన్ కుట్టుకుంటూ బ్రతికేదాన్ని సార్. మాకు 3 పిల్లలు, వాళ్ళని చదివించుకుంటూ మేము బ్రతకాలంటే చాలా కష్టమైంది సార్. ఇప్పుడు దళిత బంధు ద్వారా కేసీఆర్ గారు ఆదుకున్నారు సార్. వాళ్ళు ఇద్దరం కలిసి పెట్టుకున్నాం సార్ మిషన్. కోయంబత్తూరు నుంచి వెళ్ళి తెప్పించుకున్నాం సార్ మిషన్ను. నాన్ ఓవెన్ బ్యాగ్స్ సార్. మేము మాకు నెలకు 50,000 వరకు వస్తాయి సార్. 3 జీతాలు 50,000 వరకు వస్తాయి సార్.
For Telangana's leadership, it's not about breaking records, but about ensuring financial freedom for all. Each Dalit Bandhu grant of 10 lakh rupees has an inbuilt 10,000 rupees safety net, Dalita Rakshana Nidhi, to ensure that all Dalit families get financial assistance from the fund at times of distress. To further strengthen this, Telangana government contributes additional 10,000 rupees, which is over and above each grant. A great safety net that has no parallel anywhere in the world. For the KCR government, this is more than just a financial benefit. If any beneficiary of Dalit Bandhu meets with fatal disease or accident, the family should not go through additional depression and hard times. They should remain protected. That is the true purpose of the special safety net designed as Dalita Rakshana Nidhi.
కేసీఆర్ సార్ ఇంత పెద్ద స్కీమ్ తీసుకురావడం అనేది చాలా గొప్ప విషయం సార్. మాలాంటి వాళ్ళకి ఓన్గా ఒక కంపెనీ పెట్టి ఎస్టాబ్లిష్ కావాలనుకునే వాళ్ళ కోసం ఇది గోల్డెన్ ఆపర్చునిటీ.
అదే కాకుండా దళితులు అంటే సమాజంలో అందరికీ చిన్న చూపుగానే ఉంటుంది. ఇప్పుడు ఇది ఇవ్వడం వల్ల
సార్ దళిత బంధు ఇచ్చి మమ్మల్ని ఎంతో ఆదుకున్నారు సార్. మాకు మరో అంబేద్కర్ గారు సారు మాకైతే మాటల్లో చెప్పలేము. ఆయనకు మాకు ఎంతో బతుకునిచ్చిండ్రు అసలు.
Under the fearless leadership of KCR, Dalits finally have a government that protects and defends them. Telangana inspires them to overcome oppression and empowers them to be bold so that each Dalit can move up in the world with head held high, creating their own success story, making Telangana shine and, in turn, India.
As state of war Karnataka kicks off, Karnataka's rulers and challengers, Karnataka's superstars and dreamers, Karnataka's very body and soul, come together on Karnataka's premier stage. Every voice, every issue, every debate. This is what Karnataka wants. India Today Karnataka Roundtable, 22nd April, Bengaluru.
Presented by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, Growing Legacies.
Co-presented by
Macho Hind, Bade Aaram Se.
the all-new Hyundai Verna, futuristic, ferocious. XP100, India's first 100-octane premium petrol.
I've got big breaking news coming in on the news track tonight. An army vehicle moving between Bhimbar Gali and Poonch in the Rajouri sector of Jammu and Kashmir has been fired on by unidentified terrorists. 5 army men of the Rashtriya Rifles unit deployed for counter-terrorism operations have been killed in this attack. Terrorists may have lobbed grenades on the vehicle which then caught fire. Army Chief General Manoj Pandey has briefed Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. Injured on the spot have been rushed for medical treatment. Search operations have been launched. We're also receiving word that there is a advisory that's been put out by the police in Jammu and Kashmir linking the possibility of attack to the fact that later this month there is a G20 summit in Jammu and Kashmir from the 22nd to the 25th of May, and that there is a possibility that terrorists will try and cause more attacks somewhere in Jammu and Kashmir to create a sense of things not being normal in Jammu and Kashmir. The government taking a big decision, wanting to have a G20 meeting in Jammu and Kashmir, and terrorists inside Pakistan occupied Kashmir obviously wanting to disrupt that. That's the information that we are getting. We're also learning that the PAFF has claimed responsibility. This is a claim that they've made on social media. Sources in the intelligence agencies are telling us that the footprints of the Lashkar can be seen all across the attack, all across this attack. The Additional Director General of Jammu and other senior officers are rushing to the area where this encounter has taken place. Remember, a vehicle caught fire. It was initially thought that something went wrong, which is why that vehicle caught fire. But now it turns out that that was a terror attack. 5 army men have been killed. It's being said that the terrorists used an explosive device at this vehicle, and that's how the vehicle detonated and caught fire. We're also being told that there is a heightened possibility of more terror attacks in the Jammu and Kashmir region in the build-up to that big G20 summit. You know, it's been a while since there's been a major attack of this nature in Jammu and Kashmir. Remember, in February 2019, 40 CRPF personnel were killed in Jammu and Kashmir's Pulwama district when a Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorist rammed a vehicle laden with explosives into the bus that they were traveling in. And after that, now we're seeing this terror attack in which 5 personnel from the Rashtra Rifle have been killed. Abhishek Bhalla, our National Bureau Chief, joins us. He tracks defense for us. Abhishek, a big disturbing story. This, an army vehicle attacked by terrorists in Rajouri, 5 personnel killed. Initially, this was thought that the vehicle caught fire. Now the army confirming that this is actually a terror attack.
Yes, Rahul, a terror attack, and a very well-planned one is what sources are telling me. In fact, first there were bullets fired at this vehicle. This was a single vehicle that was moving from Bimbar Gali. It was a Rashtra Rifle personnel. Rashtra Rifles is the main force that combats terror in J&K, and there were 6 personnel in the vehicle. 5 have lost their lives. 1 is injured. Has been taken to hospital. What officials are saying is that the weather was bad, it was raining, the visibility was low, and perhaps that's the reason why the terrorists in the area found this to be the right time to strike. And after firing bullets, they have thrown grenades at the vehicle. This is what amplified this attack, and there was a big fire that the vehicle caught, and which resulted in 5 personnel dying.
What do we know about the People's Anti-Fascist Front, the PAFF, which at least on social media seems to be claiming responsibility for the attack? Remember, intelligence agencies tell us that this is linked with the Jaish-e-Mohammed, the PAFF. What do we know about their involvement in past terror attacks, Abhishek?
Well, Rahul, agencies have always maintained that any such outfits are nothing but an extension of Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, the big terror outfits that function from Pakistan. And even with this incident, agencies and the army are trying to ascertain immediately whether this was a fresh infiltration that has taken place, or whether terrorists had already infiltrated well in advance and were taking refuge in some area. Because this is a secluded area where the incident has taken place, not a lot of civilian population residing here. The vehicle that was moving, they were moving from Bimbar Gali to one of the company areas where they had to reach. So in all probability, it seems that this is a terror outfit that is backed by
Kamaljeet
Pakistan.
Sandhu joins us. Kamaljeet Sandhu tracks internal security for us. Kamaljeet, since 2019, there haven't been major terror attacks. This is the biggest since Pulwama in 2019 in February. There have been other attacks in years gone by, but this seems to have been a major terror attack. What details can you give our viewers, Kamaljeet?
Well, Rahul, definitely this is a very ghastly attack. The visual itself are very, very disturbing. But what our sources are indicating is that PAFF, as you mentioned rightly, has taken responsibility on various social media sites.
What is TAFF? What can you tell me about TAFF? At one place, I'm seeing that this is Jaish backed. At another place, on tracking terrorism, the portal, it's being said that this was started by the Lashkar-e-Taiba. Who are these guys?
So this is a splinter group, and obviously there is a sense of deniability, and that is why these smaller splinter groups was formed, one by Jaish and one by Lashkar. But sources clearly indicating to us that this looks like a Lashkar imprint. What is also very much known is that there was a firing and subsequently followed by grenade, and it does seem that the fuel tank was targeted, and that is why you see that the entire truck actually went up in flames, and that has caused a lot more injuries. Also, sources do say that this is an indication of a major escalation, especially because G20 was being organized in Jammu and Kashmir. It's a matter of great prestige. However, in the recent past itself, the Union Home Minister had taken a meeting on the G20 security issues. It was supposed to be one of the big things. Also, that there was a direction coming in from Home Ministry that there has to be zero terror. Now, that is a very, very high value target as far as this, because obviously even as far as crime or something like terror is concerned, zero target has been kept as far as our sources indicate. And meanwhile, this is a sort of thing which has come, and obviously we know that as far as drugs, as far as weapons, IEDs, a whole lot of things have been coming across the border, especially via drones. And now we see a major escalation in terms of an attack taking of this kind. This is obviously something which has been taken note of.
No, so do we have details like this is a Rashtra Rifles vehicle that's been targeted? Was it traveling alone? Was it in a cavalcade? I'm just receiving word from the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir, Manoj Sinha. He's tweeted to say, I'm deeply anguished by the loss of lives of brave army personnel in a tragic incident at Poonch. Their rich service to the nation will never be forgotten. My thoughts are with the bereaved families. Was this vehicle by itself, Kamaljeet? Was it as part of a convoy? Do we know where it was in that convoy? Was it in the beginning? Was it in the middle? Was it towards the end?
Well, the details will be known better because obviously we've spoken to our police sources. They're saying the senior officers rushing there. But yes, this vehicle was targeted, and it does seem like a very planned attack, and it does seem that there was an ambush-style attack which has taken place, followed by a grenade attack. And that is where we have to know whether the retaliation took place. So these details will emerge in some time from now, but senior officers telling that, including ADGV Jammu and the rest of the officers rushing to the spot. And obviously this is something which is being taken note of. Usually convoys of this kind do not go alone. They usually have a cavalcade of sorts. But remember, as far as the ROP is concerned, the road opening party, the other safety aspects are taken into consideration. Now, in the past few months or so, we've seen there have hardly been, and we've seen the earlier of the year, beginning with the Rajouri terror attack, where Hindu minorities were targeted in the Rajouri area. But meanwhile, this is the second big attack of this particular nature which has taken place, and obviously forces will take into consideration. We've seen there have been earlier demands that forces should be removed, especially from areas which are safe and secure. But obviously, Jammu and Kashmir is obviously a different ballgame altogether. It's one step forward and two step backwards. This is obviously a seen as an escalation. But yes, the planning and plotting, where has it been carried out? Was it from across the border? Remember, as far as terror organizations are concerned, Jammu Kashmir Police intelligence sources saying that they're down to 50 and handful of foreign terrorists there. But this looks like a very, very well-planned attack. And
just stay with me. I've got access to an intelligence bureau advisory put out largely to the Jammu and Kashmir police. I just want to read from this advisory. As per reliable sources, there is growing frustration in POK authorities regarding the G20 summit to be held in Kashmir. It's also learned that announcements are being made in mosques, loudspeakers in POK exhorting volunteers to join the Jihad Brigade in Kashmir for a limited period. The announcement said that those willing to cross over will be trained and equipped with arms to disturb the G20 summit in Kashmir, though the appeal is likely to have less impact, but the possibility of smaller groups being motivated and pushed across to this side cannot be ruled out. It is likely that there may be a surge in infiltration bids in the days to come. That's a big concern. Abhishek Bhala, the fact that there is this big G20 summit, what details do we have about the nature of this summit? There are different meetings taking place in different parts of the country. What's happening in Kashmir on the 22nd and 25th of May between that time?
Well, just last week, there was a big security review done by the Home Minister himself, where several senior officers from the security apparatus were there, and they briefed the Home Minister on the kind of security measures that are being taken place. And yes, there has been a flurry of intelligence, in fact, linked to the G20 events that are taking place in Kashmir. All of these advisories, these intelligence inputs say that they could be targeted, attacked by Pakistani-backed terrorists. Now, if we are to just look at some of the recent intelligence and security reviews about the security situation in Kashmir, they have been reiterating the fact that there is, in fact, a lot of frustration amongst the terror groups, different tanzeems, because they have not been able to carry out a big, spectacular kind of terror attack like the one happened in Pulwama. Also because there is a reiteration of ceasefire for almost 2.5 years now. The LOC has been largely peaceful. It's calm. We are not hearing of the big artillery guns booming at the line of control or shelling happening in civilian areas. That too has impacted infiltration attempts from the other side, even though attempts have taken place, but they've mostly been thwarted. This is what officials have been telling us over the last few months.
So two disturbing things. One, this big terror attack, 5 army personnel killed. Remember, when there is peace for a relatively long period of time, oftentimes we've seen in the past that the level of security preparedness tends to come down just the odd notch. It's only human nature that would happen, and now terrorists have attacked this vehicle. 5 personnel are killed, and we also have a situation where there is a G20 meeting taking place in Jammu and Kashmir next month, and ahead of that you've got a very tense period where there will be efforts to infiltrate more terrorists in and try and create some havoc, because the Indian government and the Jammu and Kashmir authorities would like to show that there is a sense of normalcy, that tourism is booming, that Jammu and Kashmir is developing, and the terrorists will be determined to show that this is actually not the case. So there will be a period of this face-off which we will have to be very, very mindful of between now and say the 22nd of next month, which is when that G20 meeting will take place in Jammu and Kashmir. 5 personnel from the Rashtriya Rifles have been killed. It's being told to us that there was a grenade or more grenades that were fired. The exact nature of this attack is unknown. Was the RNR able to push back, fight back? The status of these terrorists isn't known yet either. But what we do know is that 5 army personnel of the Rashtriya Rifle have been killed in this terror attack, one of the biggest attacks in recent times. Remember, there have been pinpoint targeted killings of Abhishek minorities in the recent past in places like Rajouri and elsewhere. This kind of a major attack where 5 RNR personnel are killed in the same attack. This has actually not happened for quite a few months now.
That's right, Rahul. There had been a lull as far as these kind of targeted attacks against security forces are concerned. Yes, there have been targeted killings of Hindus in Kashmir. In fact, that's been one of the biggest security challenges for this government of late. But what I can confirm, Rahul, now just getting some more updates about this particular attack. It was in fact a single vehicle that was traveling. It was not a convoy. It was just one vehicle with 6 personnel that were traveling from Bimbar Gali to the location of their company. and that's where this attack has taken place. So it's not a convoy. It's not a situation where a huge mobilization was taking place. It's not being called largely a civilian kind of area, although in this area there are civilians residing, but it's a secluded area. Bimbar Gali is quite secluded from a civilian population. It's usually military movements that happen over here. And the confirmation that we've got now is that this was
that
just
happens oftentimes. Usually when there's a terror attack like this now for a long time, there will be no single vehicle movements allowed. But then when there is peace for a long time, exceptions are made and single vehicles move of the kind they did in this area, and that's where these 5 Rashtra Rifles personnel were killed. So the G20 meeting that I was talking about runs from the 22nd to the 24th of May. It's in Srinagar. It's a tourism working group. This is under India's G20 presidency. It's a tourism working group meeting. It will be held in Srinagar, and that's obviously something that the Pakistani terrorists and the ISI and the Pak government would be unhappy about. We're also being told at this time that Bilawal Bhutto, the foreign minister of Pakistan, will actually be travelling to Jammu and Kashmir, will actually be travelling to India for a meeting that is to happen later this year. This again is part of the G20 meetings that are happening. 4th and 5th of May, Pakistan's Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto confirming that he will travel to the SCO meeting in Goa. This has been announced by the Pakistan Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Shiv Arur joins us. He's tracked Jammu and Kashmir security for more than 2 decades now. Shiv, a single vehicle, not a cavalcade, targeted by terrorists in the build-up to this big G20 meeting in Srinagar. And I think that as we head towards the 3rd week of May, there will be more tension in Jammu and Kashmir. At least that's what the terrorists will try and do.
Most certainly, yes, Rahul. All attempts will be made to activate cells very close to the line of control. As Abhishek was saying earlier, things have been relatively peaceful on the line of control, but the upcoming G20 meet in Srinagar, or all other activities that are taking place. There's election season in the country as well, but specifically that G20 meeting, clearly a target for terrorists to try and heat up the atmosphere in J&K. If you look at the data as far as attacks in general in J&K, Rahul, compared with 2021, which was a heavy year for attacks on the line of control, things have been relatively calm in 2022 and now. But this particular attack is actually the 3rd so far this year on an army convoy, and that's something that's very disturbing. It also proves that road opening parties, as rigorous and meticulous as they are, they cannot always, completely sanitize these extremely sensitive routes. And if you look at the terrain, Rahul, this is typical terrain that terrorists have used in the past as well to target army or paramilitary convoys. It's a hilly area. There are elevations very close to the road. It's a heavily wooded area as well. We're told that when this attack happened, it was raining quite heavily as well. So visibility would have been pretty poor, even in keeping with a road opening party. So clearly, the imprint of the Lashkar may be there. The J&K police's intelligence input to the army that we reported a few days ago, clearly evident in what we're looking at and reporting here right now.
Okay. I'm also being told that there is a hailstorm in different parts of the district, and therefore search operations to that extent are being impacted by the fact that there's heavy rain and hailstorm. They're looking for terrorists in the dense forests of Rajouri and Poonch. A cordon is in place. They're looking for the terrorists who perpetrated this attack. The area has been sealed. Vehicular movement in that area has now been stopped. So vehicular movement going to where, remember, I've been to Bimbar Gali once. It's a very densely wooded area and the roads are very narrow, steep incline. So they've picked an area where the population density is relatively low and they've then sneaked out into the forest. And now the Indian Army is out to try and catch these terrorists. We'll keep tracking the story very closely here on India Today. I want to shift our attention now to Karnataka, and what we've been doing is bringing you all the latest from the battlefield. In this particular part of our broadcast, we want to focus on the numbers, the maths. I'll have some very sharp political minds joining me to talk about the state of play as it stands at this moment, and we've been working with the data intelligence unit at the India Today group to give you sharp insights into where this battle seems to be headed.
down to State of War Karnataka. Whose stock is up? Whose stock is down? Will defections have an impact? Will star power work? Who's winning the Karnataka political league? The big focus on Newstrack.
This is a show where we'll focus on the numbers. Last week, we brought you the Karnataka political league. We looked at the anti-incumbency that had built against the BJP state government. On this week's show, we'd look at the BJP strategy and why the Bharatiya Janata Party thinks they're still in the fight and how they hope to win this election, despite the fact that popular consensus at the moment suggests that there is anti-incumbency against the state government and that the Congress is in with a chance. Remember, from the BJP's perspective, this is an election which is more about management than it is about mahal. So, an exclusive sneak peek into the BJP strategy and then a very fine panel of experts to try and decode whether that will be enough for the BJP to be able to hold fort. Joining me on this broadcast, I want to welcome first Yogendra Yadav from Swaraj India. He's associated in Karnataka with Edulu Karnataka. He wants it to be known very clearly that he has skin in the game and is seeking regime change. We've got with us from the Bharatiya Janata Party, Member of Parliament GVL Narasimha Rao, and I've been insisting that he's here in this broadcast purely in his capacity as a psephologist, and he's not allowed to do politics and just stick to the numbers that we put out. Rajiv Gowda is the chairperson of the All India Congress Committee's research department, very sharp political mind himself. He's joining us on this broadcast, as also is one of India's leading psephologists, Sanjay Kumar, director at Lokniti CSDS. R.K. Upadhyay is one of the top political scientists and columnists out of Karnataka. And for the first time, we have Devendra Shukla. He's with Matrice Communications. They've done an opinion poll in Karnataka. He'll tell us what he and his team have been picking up. I want to start with the story of the week, which is the fact that now in the northern part of Karnataka, the BJP has seen some defections in the form of Sevadi and in the form of Jagdish Shettar. And the Congress hopes that these defections could give it additional momentum. The BJP, remember, thinks that this is dead wood, which is why their tickets were cut. They don't think that these leaders add very much to their base, and they're very happy to see them go. I want to go across just to give you a sense of how the BJP actually did in the last elections in these regions of northern Karnataka, in the Mumbai Karnataka region, in the Hyderabad Karnataka region, and then we'll look at what may happen on the back of these defections and whether or not the likes of Jagdish Shettar joining the Congress makes a real difference in the polls or not. So let me just pull out the region-wise map of Karnataka, and there are two regions in particular that we're looking at: Hyderabad Karnataka and Mumbai Karnataka. I'll start with Mumbai Karnataka, and what you have on your screen are the assembly tally from the last time. Remember, the BJP in the last elections had 30 seats, the Congress 17 in Mumbai Karnataka. It's traditionally and typically been a stronghold of the Bharatiya Janata Party in recent elections. Then we'll come to Hyderabad Karnataka, where the Congress did better. Even though the Congress came second in the last elections, the Congress in the Hyderabad Karnataka region was actually ahead, picking up 21 seats versus the BJP's 15. So this is the starting point as we get into polling on the 10th of May. And I want to start by asking Yogendra Yadav first on the issue of the impact that these defections could potentially make. The BJP says, we're doing what we did in Gujarat. The Trinamool did this, for example, in West Bengal. Get rid of your old guard, which has anti-incumbency against it, to the extent possible. Bring in younger faces. The voters will appreciate that there are newer faces who've been given an opportunity, and that the vote bank, like the Lingayats, will stay with the BJP, and the likes of Jagdish Shettar and Sevadi don't matter very much. What's your thought on this?
Rahul, I should begin by thanking you for inviting me to the show and by clarifying. I hope you did that, but I couldn't hear that very clearly. I do not pretend to be a neutral psephologist. I'm very happy to see Sanjay Kumarji, who's a psephologist and is non-aligned. I don't pretend to be one. We are involved in a civil society coalition called Yeddalu Karnataka, which is about awakening Karnataka and to the challenge of getting rid of this regime. So please, forget that I'm a psephologist. Number two, the point that I wanted to make about the specific question of defections that you mentioned, I think there are two kinds of effects. One effect is the number of votes that people who shift from one party to the other bring. We don't know that entirely very clearly this time. And it often happens that people who shift from one party to other do not always bring the votes from their parent party. So we don't yet know. I would not make any big claims. In any case, I can see Professor Rajiv Gowda, who knows these things infinitely better than me because he's from Karnataka. I would think let's focus on a larger effect. The other effect is very serious demoralization. And from whatever I'm hearing from the BJP camp, from Karnataka watchers, people who are not from any political party, people who are working on the ground, and I've come to this program from a meeting of the ground workers spread across Karnataka right now, Bengaluru. And the one thing that comes out from every corner of Karnataka is very serious demoralization of BJP workers. People have given up on the ground. They are saying, yaar, ye to shuru se hi khatam ho gaya khel. And that is so BJP begins this particular election now, especially in the wake of what happened in the last 7-10 days, with very, very serious psychological disadvantage. And that itself, I'm sure my friend Narasimha Rao, who's claiming to be neutral, I wish he was not to claim such things. I mean,
he's not claiming neutrality. He's only got his psephologist data hat on. He's not claiming neutrality. He's as biased as can be. He's only saying, I'll stick to the data on the show.
No, I saw his face on the camera and I was reminding of older days. So I'm sure he would endorse the point that I'm making. Okay. That is that this very serious psychological impact itself can shift 2 to 3% vote. And remember, that's all the Congress needs to score a edge into an emphatic victory, which is where it seems to be headed right now in Karnataka.
Okay, so you're thinking that there will be an emphatic victory. I want to show you the margin as it stood to give you a vote percentage sense, because Yogendra Yadav makes the point that defections could impact optics, could impact the level of morale of party workers, and that could lead to a 2 and 3% swing. If you look at the vote share of the BJP and the Congress in Karnataka, in the last assembly elections, the BJP actually had lesser votes as a percentage than the Congress, 36 versus 38. The BJP got more seats because their votes were more concentrated. If you look at the number of seats won by both parties, the Congress had only 80. The BJP, when results were counted, originally had 104. And that's because the BJP's vote share was more concentrated. The Congress's was dispersed across the state. They had a 2% advantage. Yogendra Yadav predicts that this could lead to a 2%, 3% change in Mahal. And he thinks that's all that's required. I have one data set that I want to put out on our screen right now, which is to do with the percentage of defectors winning. So if you see that, we'll start with the BJP, the Congress and the JDS. In the last elections, for the Bharatiya Janata Party, coming up on your screen right now, there were 58 defectors, 27 of them won. So 58 defectors came into the BJP, 27 of them won. That's a 47% strike rate of defectors who joined the BJP. Let's now look at the defectors who come into the Congress and how they fared. The Congress has seen some people coming in from parties like the BJP in this election. 20 defectors in the last election, 7 of them won, a 35% strike rate, lesser than that of the BJP, but a 35% strike rate for those defectors who came in. The Janata Dal Secular had 21 defectors, only 3 of those won. That's a strike rate of about 14.3%. So, and I also want to play out Jagdish Shettar's report card from the Hubli-Dharwad Central constituency. If you look at it, he won in 2018 with a 51% vote share, a victory margin of 14.42. In 2013, he had a 49.61% vote share, victory margin of 15.13. In 2008, 54 with a victory margin of 24.24. Professor Rajiv Gowda, the BJP thinks the likes of Jagdish Shettar have seen their prime, and that's in the past, and that their defection will make no difference to the BJP stronghold over the Lingayat votes. They're saying, but just as well that they're going, people will think Modi koshish kar raha hai, naye log la raha hai, is giving fresh faces a chance, and that they think, like Gujarat and elsewhere, will actually work to their favor.
Sorry, Rahul, that analysis is totally incorrect. Basically, the BJP in Karnataka draws a tremendous amount of support from the Lingayat community, and the Lingayat community has looked up to its leaders, Sri Yediyurappa and Sri Jagdish Shettar and Sri Lakshman Sawadhi, who was Deputy Chief Minister. The earlier two were Chief Ministers. These are not light positions. These are serious positions that command a tremendous amount of respect. What the BJP has done this time is it has eliminated all three of these leaders and essentially sent a signal to the Lingayat community that...
But that's not true. Yediyurappa is still leading the campaign. No, the Prime Minister is still holding his hand. So you can't really... I mean, you're playing this story that he's been sidelined. That's actually not correct.
I think you're falling for their optics. You're falling for their optics too easily, my friend. Yediyurappa has been sidelined. They gave him hell before they gave his son a seat. Very few of his candidates have been accommodated. The signal is very, very clear to the Lingayat community that their established leadership is passé, is finished. Okay, so now you may talk about future leadership. Future leadership doesn't emerge in one election. You know, if the BJP is playing a long game with the Lingayat community and saying, okay, we're going to build people up, in 20 years you'll have leaders and chief ministers, nobody's going to wait for them. That's the basic situation. So across northern Karnataka and some pockets of southern Karnataka where the Lingayats are decisive in terms of elections, you will see that there is going to be a massive shift from that supporting the BJP to supporting the Congress. Yogendra Yadavji's 2-3% shift is going to be an underestimate, and you're going to see that 150 seats that Rahul Gandhi asked for, that's going to be an underestimate this election, just because that's the way the numbers play out.
Okay, so you're talking about being able to break the BJP stronghold on the Lingayat vote bank. I want to show our viewers data from CSDS's polls in past assembly elections in Karnataka, which essentially say that in 2018 the BJP had about 60% of the Lingayat votes. In 2008 it had about 61% of the Lingayat votes. In 2013 that vote share came down, but that's because Yediyurappa had formed his own party, the KJP, at that time. But largely it's been in the 60s, and in Lok Sabha elections, it goes up even further. In the last election, it was stated to be in the high 80s. So that's how strong their command over the Lingayat vote bank ordinarily is. I want to go across to GVL Narasimha Rao. Yogendra Yadav's theory that the optics are bad because you've got people, typically a party as strong as the BJP, as people from other parties, from the Trinamool, the Congress and the others, jumping to the BJP. Very rarely do you see, since 2014, a senior leader like Jagdish Shettar, who's been former chief minister, leave. He says whether it actually impacts vote share or not is inconsequential. More importantly, mahal kharab hota. You know, a lot of the elections about mahal, and all that we've seen in the past few days has the mahal turning against the BJP. How do you counter Yogendra Yadav? GVL.
You see, the mahal only has an impact on television discussions. This so-called mahal does not impact the voting pattern on the ground, and that too for a party like the BJP, which has a very strong cadre base. A lot of you wrongly perceive or think that Congress is a cadre-based party. Congress party, to my mind, does not have any cadres. Its leaders have cadres. When individual leaders of the Congress leave, cadres leave along with them. In the BJP, the cadres are with the party. The leaders might stay or go. They don't go with the leader. So therefore, certainly a leader like Jagdish Shettarji leaving the BJP is not something that the BJP is happy about, but its impact, if at all, it will be limited to that one particular seat, if at all. That also I'm saying, if the cadre, because it's a safe seat.
But you would
Jagdish
accept that the cadre of the BJP in Karnataka is not as big as a percent as the cadre of the BJP in a state like Gujarat or Uttar Pradesh, because the BJP's gains in Karnataka are largely a new phenomena. You've had many defectors coming to your party. You do have a cadre base, but not as strong as that in the Hindi heartland, GVL.
No, but relatively we have a much stronger cadre base than any other party. It's all, we are talking about a state in cadre strengths of relatively different parties. Please understand, if a Congress leader leaves, cadre leaves with him. In the BJP, if a leader leaves, he leaves alone. He doesn't carry the cadre with him because the cadre has an ideological connect with the BJP.
Yogendra Yadav has his hand up. I'm going to get him to give a counter to this, that the BJP is a cadre-based party, and therefore the departure even of a high-profile neta, and we've seen this in the case of a Kalyan Singh or even an Uma Bharti, who are much bigger netas than Jagdish Shettar ever was, didn't really impact the vote structure of the BJP. The neta goes, the cadre stays.
The cadres are linked to the ideology, not to the individual.
Yogendra Yadav ji.
I first wanted to clarify, Rahul, that when I spoke about 2 to 3% swing for Congress, it was not from 2018. It is from what all the opinion polls have shown till last week, which is that Congress already enjoys anything between 4 to 6% margin. So I was saying, on top of that already existing 4 to 6% margin, Congress could get 2 percentage points or similar advantage because of the. Now, to the point that Narasimha Rao has made, I think it's a fair thing to say nationally.
Go on, sir. We hear you.
Can you hear me?
I hear you well.
Yes, sir. So now to the point that Narasimha Rao ji had made, I think it's a fair distinction to draw. BJP is largely a cadre-based party, and Congress's cadre has been exceptionally weak. Although I should underline the fact that in Karnataka, this distinction is much, much weaker. Please remember, Congress in Karnataka is still one of the deepest entrenched party for Congress anywhere in the country. So if you look at Congress around the country, Karnataka is probably one of the places where it's more deeply entrenched than anywhere. And BJP, compared to BJP elsewhere in the country, is most weakly entrenched in Karnataka. So let's remember that the contrast is not that big. And number two, please remember that the point about percentage of defectors who succeed, that varies from the general hawa in each election. Last time, there was no hawa for Congress. If anything, there was a negative hawa for Congress. When you have negative hawa, people who shift to you lose. When you have positive hawa, then people who shift for you tend to win. So that figure might change. And finally, I just want to ask, not just Narasimha Rao ji, I want to ask you, Rahul, I want to ask anyone who knows anything about Karnataka, please tell me, are BJP workers and leaders not demoralized? It is not a private, deep investigation that I'm bringing to you. It's out there on the street. It's out there on the face of everyone. It's out there on the front pages of newspaper. How are we denying something so elementary as that?
Now, morale is difficult
Rahul,
to quantify. I thought this was more about the
Rahul,
data, but Yogendra Yadav bowling a googly. Let GVL Narasimha Rao counter that, because we can't let that
One second.
just
Rahul,
stay
I have one
unanswered. Just 1 second. Professor Gowda, I'm coming to you. Since he says BJP cadre seems dispirited, we've seen protests, we've seen workers out on the streets. He's adding all of that up to say your workers are demoralized. GVL?
No, Rahul, momentarily, whenever a big leader leaves or there is a disturbance, it does cause a little disturbance. But it doesn't take much time to settle down. It doesn't take more than maybe a day or two to settle down. I will repeat this point because it's important. My cadres, the BJP cadres, are committed to Ram Mandir. Jagdish Shettar going to Congress, can he shout Jai Shri Ram? Will he have the authority to shout Jai Shri Ram in Congress? I doubt very much. My cadres, the BJP cadres, are committed to abrogation of Article 370. They are committed to Hindutva philosophy. And Jagdish Chatterjee has gone to a party which believes possibly in love jihad.
Okay.
So certainly,
Rajiv Gowda wants to come in.
It doesn't help.
On the issue of
it won't help individuals who go to parties which have diametrically opposite ideological backgrounds.
Professor Gowda?
See, Mr. Narasimha Rao is totally wrong. If you just look at the numbers, and this show is about the numbers, in 2013, when Mr. Yediyurappa broke away, the cadres, one big chunk went with him. 10% of the vote share of the BJP went with Yediyurappa. What happened to all this cadre loyalty and his affection for love jihad or whatever he's talking about?
No, but Yediyurappa is still the tallest leader of the Lingayat community. He's still batting on the BJP ticket.
The basic point
he hasn't jumped and Shettar is no Yediyurappa.
When leaders leave. Okay.
No, Yediyurappa ji is committed to the same ideology.
Okay, let Professor Gowda
what is this
speak.
Ideology and cadres? That doesn't work here in Karnataka. Please stick to wherever you are. Yeah.
But Professor Gowda, the tallest Lingayat leader, is still padding up and batting for the BJP. He left and damaged them in 2013 with both realized the mistake. But Shettar is no Yediyurappa.
But Yediyurappa also is no longer the Yediyurappa that he once was. He's been hobbled, he's been crippled, he's been treated terribly, and just by some chance they've managed to, he's been able to beg for a seat for his son and maybe one more person. They've totally sidelined him. They're just using him as a prop, and basically the people of his community very clearly understand that the BJP has let down the Lingayat community tremendously. Now, that is just one part of the story. The other part of the story is that every community, if you want to analyze on the basis of communities and castes, is also disappointed with the BJP, not disappointed, disgusted with the 40% Sarkara, with their terrible governance, with this, you saw what Mr. Narasimha Rao brought up, love jihad, all sorts of fake issues that have no relevance to modern day Karnataka.
Okay, I want to show our viewers this data set about the number of seats.
This election is not about development. He said it's a fight between Tipu Sultan and Savarkar. Sorry,
okay. This show is not about Tipu Sultan or Savarkar. It's about the data. Let's just stick to that, Professor Gowda. No, one second. Our team and I have worked really hard on putting different data sets together, which I think explain the election and the significance of different factors. I just want to stay very focused on the data. I want to bring up next the number of seats dominated by particular communities, which gives you a sense of why the Lingayat community is as important as it is, and the percentage of that community as an overall percent of the state's voting population. So the Lingayats are considered, these aren't specific percentages, but considered to be about 14% of the state's population, and they dominate up to 76 seats. Now, these are estimates, but they are broad estimates, and everybody typically goes by these estimates. The Vokaligas, about 11% of the state's population and dominate about 54 seats, and therefore they are as important. The Kurubas are 7%. Just the Kurubas dominate 3 seats, but they are fragmented and dispersed across the state and therefore significant. And I want to go across now on this issue to Sanjay Kumar. Remember, Professor Sanjay Kumar leads a formidable team of researchers at CSDS Lokniti. They are academics and therefore don't really have any personal skin in the game. We've heard from people who we know which side they're batting for. We haven't heard from you so far, Sanjay Kumar. Which way do you think the winds in Karnataka are blowing?
If we look at the vote percentage of Congress, and over the last 4 elections, Congress is sitting comfortably with, say, about 34-35% vote. A 4% swing in favor of Congress, and I am calculating in the context of, say, 2% away from BJP and 2% away from JDS. So if there is a 4% swing in favor of Congress, this can give Congress a comfortable majority to the range of, say, 135 to 140 seats. This could be possible because if we look at the support base of Congress, it is very widespread. It is not like in many other states, because Congress gets vote from what we used to talk about. Congress has a coalition, rainbow coalition in the 90s and 80s. That still remains the case in Karnataka. So Congress gets votes from large.
No, so are you suggesting that your research is showing that the Congress's vote share, which is say about 38% in the last elections, could potentially go up past 40 in this poll? That's what you're broadly picking up?
No, I have not done any poll, and I'm not saying that Congress vote share will go up to 42 or 43%. The limited point I'm making is that in order to make a comfortable victory in Karnataka, Congress only needs 3% to 4% swing in its favor.
No, but can I say that a lot of this Panditri, Professor Kumar, is based on a time when the BJP big guns haven't come out to the battlefield yet. Post the 20th is when Prime Minister Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah, UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, the BJP President JP Nadda and the others really swamped the battlefield. The Prime Minister has got multiple back-to-back rallies, road shows lined up. How much of a factor could that be, the heavy artillery that the BJP brings to the battlefield in the last 20 days?
Oh, no, absolutely. That's going to be a very important factor for BJP. But when I was saying that it is possible for Congress to have a 4% swing in its favor, this is based on the situation on the ground as of today. Yes, I agree that the names which you have already taken, when they come for the campaign, they can make a huge difference for
Let me put that same question to Yogendra Yadav, because a lot of the analysis is based at this moment when the nomination process is still on, the tickets were decided, there was a bit of intransigence in the party after that, that's now being settled. And this is where the BJP brings the full might of the most formidable election machine modern India has seen. How much of a difference could the presence of the Prime Minister and his key generals in the battlefield in a concentrated fashion in the last 20 days make to the end outcome on the 13th? Yogendra Yadav.
Rahul, this would have been relevant if this was the first time BJP was using all this artillery, as you call it, in the assembly election. It so happens that BJP has used it every single time. So the 38% vote that BJP had last time takes this artillery into account. It is by using all this that BJP has reached where it reached. Please remember that after using this artillery and everything else, BJP has never got a simple majority in Karnataka ever before. And the only way in BJP has formed the government is through that dirty backdoor Operation Kamala. So please remember, this is not for the first time that Mr. Modi is going to campaign. This is not for the first time that Mr. Amit Shah is going to campaign. Yes, this might be the first time that Mr. JP Nadda is going to campaign in a big way, but I'm sure in the studio, you may not find anyone, not even from the BJP, who would say Mr. Nadda is going to swing votes in Karnataka. He has already taken a few votes away from BJP in Karnataka by saying what he has said. So all these are standard given factors. And if there are some artillery on the part of the BJP, I'm sure Professor Rajiv Gowda would tell you the artillery on the part of the Congress. I do not know of any leader in Karnataka who can draw the kind of crowds that Mr. Siddaramaiah can.
Okay, let me put that question to R.K. Upadhyay. The comparison between what we'll see... Okay, let GVL... Because I've got guests I haven't had a chance to go to, so I'm keen on going to them.
Comment.
Okay, very quickly. Yes, sir, go on.
Yeah, you see, our campaign is certainly led by the Honorable Prime Minister, who is certainly going to be the face of the campaign. But that does not take away the fact that our organizational leaders, be it National President Mr. Nadda, who they have a big role to play. Just because you don't like BJP, Yogendra, it's not expected that you will make such uncharitable comments. He certainly has strengthened the organization. He leads the party in an organizational way, and everybody contributes to the campaign. Certainly, some leaders become face of the campaign, some become organizational leaders. And in another important point, Rahul, I think we have been talking about caste here. Lingayat. You see, BJP is in power, Lingayat will be a chief minister. Is the Congress willing to say there will be a Lingayat chief minister? I want Gowda to answer this. Certainly, the Lingayats will vote lock, stock and barrel for the BJP because the only chance of having a chief minister from Lingayat community is with the BJP, and that's what matters. It does not matter which second, third rung leaders lead.
Okay, you know what? We did a conversion of Lok Sabha vote share into assembly trends. So what the BJP needs to do in the next 3 weeks somehow is to make this about Prime Minister Modi and to bring in national factors to somehow turn this into, like they did in Gujarat, a battle of prestige and bring that trump card to the play, which is Prime Minister Modi. In the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, the BJP had a 51.75% vote share, the Congress 32.11%, the JDS about 10%. Converted into assembly trends, the BJP would have won 170 out of the 224 seats in Karnataka. The Congress would have won 36, the JDS 11. So they somehow, remember this is an assembly election, so it's not really a national election. Most voters can tell that difference, but the BJP will seek to make this as much as possible about more than just Karnataka, more than just local state government-led issues. R.K. Upadhyay, this point about the comparison between the firepower that the BJP will now bring, every minister being sent there, leaders from different parts of the country, in smaller districts, in towns, micromanaging the campaign, the Prime Minister himself, Amit Shah, Yogi Adityanath, JP Nadda, the entire galaxy of BJP top guns up against the likes largely of Siddaramaiah, Shivakumar and the Mallikarjun Kharge and the Congress Karnataka brass. The argument Yogendra Yadav makes is that the Congress does have good local leaders in Karnataka who are popular versus the BJP's big guns. To what extent will the big guns of the BJP be able to sway the results on the 10th of May?
Rahul, I think it's going to make a very, very big difference. You know, I mean, just now I was hearing Yogendra Yadav ji saying that BJP cadre is demoralized and it's dispirited and all that. I'm just returning from Hubli. You know, just 5 hours ago I was in Hubli and people are going about in a normal way. There was a life is going on. So it's not that, you know, people are morose because Jagdish Shettar has been removed from this. So the fact of the matter is that, you know, people like Jagdish Shettar depend on the party. I mean, he doesn't have a charisma of his own. He's not a mass leader like, Yediyurappa ji. So the impact of his expulsion or impact of his resignation is going to be very, very limited. And people like, you know, now the Prime Minister, the Home Minister and Yogi Adityanath, all these people reaching out there is definitely going to make a big difference. You know, definitely.
No, but take for example another election that's happening at the same time, the UP the UP urban body elections. There the mahal is in favor of the BJP already. The argument being made or the question being asked is whether all the mahal that we've seen somehow, at least so far where this match is being commented on at this moment, the mahal doesn't seem to have come in the BJP's favor in quite the same way. How big a factor is that? And do you think that could change once the big guns join the battlefield?
I think once the big guns enter, it is going to change dramatically. Because, you know, people are waiting for these national leaders to come and, you know, campaign.
But the counter to what you are saying is that once an election is decided, once voters have largely made up their mind, it's very rare that the mahal changes entirely. It can change on the margins. Very rarely do we see the ball swing completely the other way if it's swinging in one direction originally.
No, absolutely. You see, I mean, BJP is fighting against tremendous odds. Because, you know, in 38 years, a sitting government has never been repeated in Karnataka. It was last in 1985 when Ramakrishna Hegde, heading the Janata Party government, was able to, you know, get a second consecutive term. Since then, there have been 7 general elections and the governments have been changed. So, which shows that, you know, BJP is not going to have it easy. It's going to be, you know, tremendous odds are against the BJP. But the fact that, you know, it's putting up a fight, and I feel that, you know, with another 3 weeks left, things could change. Right now, I would say the Congress is ahead, definitely ahead of the, BJP, but they are not crossing the magic figure. So that is where I feel that, you know, this could gradually change as the days progress.
Okay, I want to go across to Devendra Shukla at Matrice Communications. They've done an opinion poll recently. आप अपने opinion poll के बारे में थोड़ा बताएं. जितना मैंने देखा, उसमें जो common perception है अब तक, उसके विपरीत आपका पोल ये कह रहा है कि आपके हिसाब से भाजपा कर्नाटक में जीत रही है. क्यों और कैसे?
नहीं, कॉमन परसेप्शन से विपरीत हमारा पोल नहीं है. अगर राहुल जी आपने डेटा को ठीक से देखा होगा, तो जैसे अभी योगेंद्र यादव कह रहे थे कि कांग्रेस अगर 40% वोट पा जाए तो वो यहाँ पहुँच सकती है. और जो लास्ट टाइम का जो वोट शेयर था कांग्रेस का 2018, 2013 और 2008 के डेटा को हमें देखना चाहिए पार्टी वाइज। अगर मैं ये कहूँ कि 2018 में कांग्रेस का वोट शेयर 39% था और कांग्रेस का वोट शेयर जो है 2008 में वो 34% था या 35% था, और कांग्रेस की सीटें 2018 और 2008 में सेम थी, 80 ही तब थी और 80 ही इस बार भी थी। बीच में एक इलेक्शन आया 2013 जिसमें कि 122 सीटें वो लेके आए, लेकिन वो जो वोट शेयर था वो 34 और 39 के कहीं बीच में 36 पे था। और ये 122 का जो आंकड़ा उनका आया था, ये तब आया था जब येदियुरप्पा बीजेपी से रिबेल करके अपनी खुद की एक पार्टी उन्होंने फॉर्म की थी, और बीजेपी और उनकी जो पार्टी का वोट शेयर था वो अगर कंबाइंडली देखा जाए तो वो 30 के आसपास आ रहा था और कांग्रेस उस समय 36% पे थी। तो जो 122 का फिगर कांग्रेस के लिए आया था वो एग्जैक्टली किसी 36% के वोट शेयर के कारण नहीं आया था कि 34 से 2% बढ़ गए तो वो 122 पे पहुंच गए, ऐसा नहीं था। दूसरी एक चीज है कि अब अगर बीजेपी के आंकड़ों को हम 2018, 2013 और 2008 में देखें तो बीजेपी का वोट शेयर 2018 में 36% था, 2008 में 33% था। तो अगर क्या कहते हैं सिर्फ ये मान लिया जाए कि बढ़े हुए वोट शेयर पे ज्यादा सीटें आती हैं तो इसका मतलब है कि बीजेपी को 2008 की तुलना में 2018 में जो है सीटें वो ज्यादा आनी चाहिए थी, लेकिन ये तो हुआ नहीं। बीजेपी की सीटें 110 से घट के 104 पे घट के चली आई थी।
आपका जो इस बार का ओपिनियन पोल है उसके बारे में बताएं थोड़ा।
आपने जब डिस्कशन की देखिए, मेरा जो ओपिनियन पोल था उसमें हमने कांग्रेस को सबसे बड़ी पार्टी के रूप में दिखाया था वोट शेयर के टर्म्स में, और मैं अभी भी उस पर स्टेबल हूं कि कांग्रेस जो है वो वोट शेयर के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से सबसे बड़ी पार्टी रहेगी। लेकिन अगर आप रीजन वाइज जो है वोट शेयर को देखेंगे तो 3 ऐसे रीजन हैं जहां पे कि बीजेपी ने कांग्रेस को पीछे लास्ट टाइम भी छोड़ा था और वो इस बार भी छोड़ रहे हैं। तो बीजेपी को सीटों का या वोट शेयर के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बहुत ज्यादा लॉस नहीं होने जा रहा है। दूसरी एक चीज है, जेडीएस को एक फैक्टर के रूप में, एक प्रमुख फैक्टर के रूप में एक विशेष रीजन में आपको करके देखना है, और वहां पे सबसे ज्यादा उसकी जो तगड़ी फाइट होती है वो कांग्रेस के साथ है। तो ये बेसिकली जो इलेक्शन है वो 2 चीजों पे बहुत डिपेंड करेगा। एक कि जेडीएस का परफॉर्मेंस मैसूर रीजन में क्या 2018 की तरीके ही रहता है और क्या उससे कांग्रेस उसी तरीके से प्रभावित होती है या नहीं। दूसरी चीज ये है कि जो अभी ये डिस्कशन में आ रहा है कि बीजेपी को लोगों के रिबेल करने से नुकसान होगा या नहीं, तो देखिए ये तो दोनों ही तरीके के एग्जाम्पल हैं कि बीजेपी में जब झारखंड इलेक्शन की अगर आप बात करें तो वहां पे रघुवर दास के खिलाफ उन्हीं की पार्टी के एक लीडर ने जो टिकट न मिलने पे इलेक्शन लड़ा था और उनको हराया था। लेकिन उत्तराखंड जैसे स्टेट में जहां पे कि एक बड़े नंबर जो हैं लोगों के काटे गए सीनियर लीडर्स के थे, वहां पे कोई इम्पैक्ट नहीं पड़ा।
Okay, so you made 2 important points: the role of the Janata Dal secular and the fact that what happens in the last 20 odd days. So let me put this question to Sanjay Kumar on the Janata Dal secular. Do you see the JDS largely hold on to where they were on the screen right now? The JDS vote share in the last assembly elections about 18%. Remember, a lot of that vote comes from the 64 odd seats of old Mysore. When converted into seats, the JDS starts out in this Karnataka election with 37 seats. In 2019, in the Lok Sabha elections, the BJP stormed even old Mysore and the JDS was reduced to a rump. The BJP thinks they've penetrated old Mysore quite a bit between the last elections and now, and they may do well like they did in the Lok Sabha elections. Or do you think it will revert back to the typical formulation in old Mysore, which is JDS versus Congress? Or do you think BJP would have an important role to play in old Mysore this time? Sanjay Kumar.
Rahul, as I said, we have not done any polls, so it's not based on any poll. But my own sense is that if I look at the last 4 assembly elections, JDS always has a sizable percentage of vote, and that is roughly in the range of, say, 15 to 20% vote. So my own sense is that JDS may be able to retain those 15-16% vote. Their performance may be may not be as good as it was in 2018 or previous election, because at the moment the perception which is building in Karnataka is that it is a 1-to-1 fight between BJP and Congress. So if that is a perception which is building, then we might see some shift in favor of Congress, which might affect the JDS. The JDS more or less will hold on, but the tally might go down by few seats.
You know, I don't know about you who are watching, but I really enjoyed this show. This is what I think TV should be about. Sharp viewpoints, argued incisively with data, with ideas, rather than a slinging match, tu meme, which makes absolutely no sense. We had an interesting exchange of views, a lot to think about. And remember, this is really the halfway point in some senses, because you've got the slow-goers still left. Who's able to score more in the slow-goers? Can the BJP pull it back from here, or can the Congress hold on to where they've reached right now without conceding no balls and wides? That's something the Congress has done in the past. Remember, they're up against a very formidable election machine. This is exciting. This is why we're so charged up, and this is also why we're going to Bengaluru tomorrow, because on Saturday we have the big India Today Karnataka roundtable, from the Home Minister to the Congress President, the BJP Chief Minister, Shivakumar, Siddaramaiah. The entire galaxy of central and state level leaders will be with us at the India Today Karnataka roundtable this Saturday. Do tune in for that. We have a special show tomorrow as well on the news track. So a lot coming up. We're really charged up and excited. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in Karnataka. Goodbye.
Co-presented by Star Health Insurance, the health insurance specialist.
Co-presented by General Air Conditioners, the Extreme Machine.
Co-presented by Cool Fans, smart inside, stylish outside.
XP100, India's first 100-octane premium petrol.
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today, your primetime destination. News, newsmakers, talking points. The big talking point, as Rahul Gandhi faces a setback in the Surat court, is he still the BJP's target number one? Also, the 2002 Naroda Gam massacre, all are acquitted. Did no one kill anyone during the 2002 riots? We'll ask all the questions that don't get asked on other shows on the news today. But first, the 9 headlines at 9. An army vehicle attacked by Jaish-backed outfit in Rajouri. 5 army men killed. Army chief briefs Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. All accused, including ex-Gujarat Minister Maya Kodnani and Babu Bajrangi, acquitted in the Naroda Gam massacre case. 11 people had died in the massacre in 2002. Big setback for disqualified MP Rahul Gandhi in the Modi surname defamation case. Surat court rejects a plea for stay on conviction. Upholds a 2-year jail term. Congress to move High Court next. Congress ally NCP Supremo Sharad Pawar meets businessman Gautam Adani. TMC slams Pawar, says prioritize good of the nation before personal relations. Mahua Moitra makes that comment. Congress plays Kannadiga pride card after BJP chief Nadda says elect BJP and continue getting PM's blessings. BJP asserts double-engine government is in the best interest of Karnataka. Big win for EPS in Tamil Nadu. Election Commission recognizes him as the AIDMK General Secretary. 2-leaf symbol also allotted to EPS-led faction of the party. Police recreate Atik crime scene in Prayagraj. Narco test of his killers likely in a big confession. Shooters admit to link with the Bhati gang. Khalistani fugitive Amritpal's wife stopped at Amritsar airport. She was en route to London. Cops say Kirandeep barred from flying as a precautionary measure. And Elon Musk's Starship, the world's biggest rocket, explodes during test flight. The rocket experienced an anomaly before stage separation. But the big breaking news coming in at this moment, an army vehicle moving between Bhimbar Gully and Poonch in the Rajouri sector in Jammu was fired on by unidentified terrorists. 5 army men of the Rashtriya Rifles unit deployed for counter-terrorist operations have been killed in the attack. Terrorists may have also lobbed grenades on the vehicle, which then caught fire. Army Chief Manoj Pandey has briefed Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. The injured on the spot have been rushed for medical treatment and search operations have been launched. So that big story which is coming in at the moment is from Rajouri at the moment. 5 army men reportedly have been killed. Let's go across to our correspondents Abhishek Bhalla, Kamaljeet Sandhu joining us for the very latest on that breaking story. Kamaljeet, you're there on the ground. Tell us what you have heard at the moment about this.
Well, sources clearly indicate to us that this is a major terror attack. At least 50 rounds were fired. We've been told that this was a ration carrying vehicle. So obviously it doesn't seem that all of them were armed, but at least 5 of them were there when militants fired from all 3 directions. Now, there's every possibility that the Bimbar Gully, which is very close to the border areas, that this could be a new infiltration group. Now, the PAFF has claimed responsibility, but sources indicate to us that there is all likelihood that Lashkar-e-Taiba could be behind this. Now, remember, there have been inputs coming in that G20, which is taking place in Jammu and Kashmir next month, could be the radar of terrorists. And this is where the attack has taken place. Earlier, you would remember, Rajouri was under attack by terrorists on 1st of January this year, where Hindu minority were targeted by the terrorists. But this is obviously a dastardly attack. There are vegetables strewn all over. We've also been told that there was the FOL, which is fuel, there was oil and there was lubricant which was being carried even though there was a short distance where the vehicle was traveling. Meanwhile, it does not seem that there was any retaliation, because obviously it does seem that in the afternoon these were soft targets. They were not expecting any sort of terror attack. And that is where the retaliation has not come in. But the terrorists obviously had planned this way in advance. They were firing from 3 directions. We've been told at least 4 to 5 terrorists could have been part of this entire ambush. Meanwhile, the one person who survived is being rushed and obviously being treated. And it is only much later when the bullet holes were found, and that is when they actually realized that this was a major terror attack.
I'll just bring in...
told senior officers have rushed to the spot.
I'll just bring in Abhishek Bhalla at this moment, because Abhishek, we are told that the defense minister has been briefed. This comes, as Kavalji just reported, ahead of the G20 summit in Jammu and Kashmir next month. Is the connection being drawn, and who is being held primarily responsible?
Well, officials indicating that there was a flurry of intelligence, also advisories given out that ahead of the G20 event in Kashmir, which is next month, May 22-23. It's a working group on tourism where delegates will be taken to several tourist places. The idea is to show that there is normalcy in Kashmir. So there was a lot of word on this, that ahead of this particular event on May 22-23, there could be such strikes. Now, the line of control, Rajdeep, has been pretty calm over the last 2.5 years after this reiteration of ceasefire was done by both sides. So we haven't been hearing of booming artillery guns on the line of control, but there have been attempts of infiltration. And once again, this looks like a case of fresh infiltration that has taken place somewhere near the Rajouri sector, the line of control not too far from here. All these facts being ascertained, the army chief has briefed the Raksha Mantri about this.
Okay, Abhishek Bhalla and Kamalji to join us on that breaking, developing story. We'll get more details, but an army convoy being attacked is troubling news at this moment. Let's turn from there to our top story of the day politically. A Surat Sessions Court dismissed Congress leader Rahul Gandhi's plea for a stay on his conviction in the 2019 criminal defamation case for his Modi surname remark. Rejecting his plea, the Surat court told Rahul Gandhi that being an MP, he should have been more careful. The court's verdict means that Rahul Gandhi's attempt to get his disqualification as an MP reversed will have to now wait and appeal to the High Court. It's our top story.
Back-to-back legal setbacks for Rahul Gandhi. First, a lower court declared the Congress leader guilty of defamation of his Modi Chor remark, which led to his disqualification from Lok Sabha. And now the Surat Session Court has dismissed his plea for stay, which means his conviction and 2-year sentence remains. The court in its ruling said that the conditions for stay were not met by Rahul Gandhi. The court said that Rahul should have been more careful, as his words can cause mental agony. The court also said that losing membership of parliament is not an irreparable loss. Rahul's legal team will now move the Gujarat High Court for relief.
Senior advocate R.S. Chima, appearing for Rahul Gandhi, in his arguments had said that the decision of the civil court is perverse, that it creates irretrievable and irreparable damage to Rahul Gandhi, and that this order could not have been passed because Rahul Gandhi never got a fair trial. All of these arguments have been dismissed by the Sessions Court at Surat, which has gone threadbare into the entire trial and looked at all aspects.
The legal team of Gujarat BJP MLA Purnish Modi, who had filed the defamation case, claiming insult to all with Modi's surname, hailed the verdict.
Appellant convict has failed to establish any rarest of rare case or the exceptional circumstances. Court has also taken into consideration the judgment of the Supreme Court which were advanced by us, as well as the judgment of the Honorable Gujarat High Court. They should be treated at par with all the citizens of India.
The verdict, as expected, has sparked a political showdown.
This is a, I would say, slap on the face of the arrogance of the Gandhi family. ये जो घमंड है गांधी परिवार का, और खास करके जो गांधी परिवार ये सोचती है कि हम कुछ भी कर लेंगे और हमारा कुछ नहीं बिगड़ेगा, आज सूरत के अपीलिएट कोर्ट से ये सिद्ध होता है कि कानून सबके लिए बराबर का है. This was not death of democracy of India. This is a blow on the arrogance of the Gandhi family. ये लोकतंत्र समाप्त नहीं हुआ है. ये जो घमंड है गांधी परिवार का और खास करके राहुल गांधी का, उसके ऊपर एक बहुत बड़ा आघात है कोर्ट के माध्यम से.
Voice of Rahul Gandhi is not to be silenced in the manner that the BJP thinks it can do. The BJP has been, in a sense, from Mr. Modi downwards to the government, to the ruling party, captured in a fear psychosis, if I may say so. They have unleashed lakhs of trolls and trollers against Rahul Gandhi. They sometimes threaten you with privilege notices, sometimes with suspension, but they do not know the stuff Rahul Gandhi is made of. They do not know the resilience of the Congress.
Rahul Gandhi could be looking at a long legal battle ahead. His first aim will be to get a stay on the conviction, which will enable him to get his parliament membership back. Unless he gets the stay, Rahul Gandhi will not be able to contest the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. With Anisha Mathur and Saurav Aktania from Surat, Bureau Report, India Today.
Joining me now is our newsmaker at the moment, someone who's been advising Rahul Gandhi, senior advocate and Congress MP, Abhishek Manu Singhvi. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, how do you respond to what the Surat court has said? There are no exceptional circumstances that merited the conviction being stayed. They're saying Rahul Gandhi as an MP should have been far more careful with his words. Why not simply apologize, which perhaps would be the way to settle this once and for all, Dr. Singhvi?
Rajdeep, just examine what you are saying and you'll get the answer there. First and foremost, he should have been more careful with his words is not a domain which arises before the learned sessions judge. It's one of the errors. There is a conviction by a magistrate. The main appeal is pending before the sessions court. This is only an interim proceeding that should the conviction be stayed till then. It is only on the interim. So it's not a final trial. Now, for such
why doesn't your client just apologize and end this matter?
Why should he apologize? He's done nothing wrong. Why should he apologize? Why should the solution be for him to admit defamation and apologize? Why should the solution not be for you to ask that when you ask the question, why should there be no stay of conviction? Is it a murder charge he's facing? It's the mildest of charges. 2 years sentence max. Is it a Prevention of Corruption Act charge he's facing? Then what else is the test for stay of conviction? When the learned judge says that I should not give him a stay of conviction, what else will be a more appropriate case? A, no murder charge. B, no corruption charge. It's a case of a conviction on first appeal. The first appeal will test the conviction. In the meanwhile, which can be a more stronger case that you should not lose your seat in parliament, suspend your conviction, allow you to sit. Mr. Sidhu was given a stay of conviction on a murder charge. There are 7 cases cited by the learned judge himself in the first 7 pages, by himself, underlined by the learned judge, which show that conviction has been stayed for corruption charges. Now, this is the shortest possible reason why he should get this. It is not a conviction finally. It's only that suppose tomorrow his appeal is allowed. Rajdeep, consider the balance of convenience. Tomorrow, after 3 months, 4 months, Rahul Gandhi wins his appeal. Can you restore to him the days in parliament he has lost? Part of the last session and part of the oncoming monsoon session. So what is the point of saying there is no irreparable prejudice? So I am not here to argue the case before you. I am saying there are lots and lots of strong grounds, patent errors on which the High Court will be approached. And meanwhile, let me tell you, in fact, it is reflective of the BJP's clear fear and attempt to throttle his voice.
No, one minute. Dr. Singhvi, how is this BJP's attempt to throttle his voice? We've got to look at these as 2 distinct issues. There's a court proceeding going on, and there is the natural parliamentary fallout of what has happened. Once you get convicted for 2 years or more, you lose your membership. So we've got to distinguish the two. Are you suggesting to me that in some way what has been happening in the lower courts is influenced by the BJP's by the BJP?
Let me explain to you straight away. You have a political battle, fight it in a political discourse. Do you fight a political battle by getting 3 of your persons having the surname Modi in Ranchi, Patna and Surat file defamation cases? Is it not an attempt to harass? Is it not an attempt to intimidate? Is it not an attempt to silence your voice? You come back from abroad and you make an extraordinary precondition that Mr. Rajdeep, unless you first apologize, I won't allow you to speak in Parliament. Have you ever heard of this? You say another condition that, look, I will give you privilege notices. I, as the ruling party, will disrupt Parliament and not allow you to speak. I won't allow you to have a discussion on the corruption charges or the crony capitalist charges you are raising. I will first say that you apologize and then only will have that discussion. Now, are these not all attempts to stifle and silence his voice? That's the point I'm making.
No, the point I am asking you is what the court said today. The judge said powers accorded under section 389(1) of CRPC to suspend, stay the conviction is required to be exercised with caution and circumspection. If such power is exercised in a casual and mechanical manner, the same will have serious impact on the public perception on justice delivery systems.
Rajdeep, it's very interesting you're reading this. It is precisely what you're reading which is the error. Read the first 7. Now, we have shifted from politics to law. Let's stick to law for just 2 minutes. The first 7 or 8 pages which you are holding in your hand are only quotations from judgments. Have you noticed the lines underlined by the judge? He has underlined those lines to deny Rahul Gandhi stay of conviction. The lines say the opposite. One of the cases you are holding in your hand is Sarin's case.
Yes.
It says it's a case of corruption and therefore serious, don't stay it. Second case you are holding in your hand, the very lines you are reading, is Sidhu's case. And the learned judge underlined the lines. There was a murder charge where in fact it was stated. What the judge has done is he cited case law in principle without applying it to the facts of Rahul Gandhi's case and without noticing the stark contrast between what you are reading and Rahul Gandhi's case.
So you are drawing, correct me for our viewers, you are drawing a distinction between a criminal defamation case, which you believe does not merit 2 years in the first instance, versus someone who has faced a murder charge. Am I correct?
Forget 2 years, but yes, there is a vast difference between a corruption charge, a murder charge and a defamation charge. It is made out from the very cases which the learned judge has cited in the first 7 pages which you are holding in your hand. He has underlined those lines without noticing that is actually underlining a contrast in favor of Rahul Gandhi. What he's doing is he's underlining those cases which underline a contrast in favor of Rahul Gandhi. That's the error of the judgment.
Can I therefore ask you in conclusion, presumably you're going in appeal. Last time you took 10 days to appeal. Questions were raised as to the delay. Are you going in appeal right away now to the High Court?
There is absolutely no reason for delay, but there is no reason for hyper urgency, as we are being advised by all and sundry, by internet lawyers and WhatsApp lawyers. I mean,
forget internet lawyers, WhatsApp lawyers. What are you going to do? Are you going tomorrow morning to the High Court or not?
I'll tell you. Of course we are going. We will make a properly drafted appeal. Parliament is not in session immediately, so we have some time. And the appeal will be filed shortly, and thereafter it will be brought up the subsequent week or whatever when the matter is listed in the court. It's as simple as that. I've never understood. The last time the actual filing of the appeal took place after 8 to 9 days. I was very amused to see on your channels so-called people saying I would have drafted in 3 hours and filed it, 6 hours and filed it. I found it very amusing.
Okay.
I mean, I hats off to them if they can file an appeal on a Gujarati judgment in 9 hours. I hate to talk about the quality of that appeal. Anyway, the point is that please don't advise us when to file our appeal, how to file our appeal. I think that much we know. But yes, in the very proximate future, you will have an appeal.
Okay. We'll leave it there, Dr. Singhvi. We'll get back to you when and when that appeal is filed. We don't want a running ball-by-ball commentary. We just wanted to enlighten our viewers, and that's what you've done. I appreciate your joining us. Thank you very much, Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi there, who remains the Congress's legal eagle. So let's broaden this, look at the political dimensions and the legal dimensions. Does Rahul Gandhi still remain target number one for BJP? BJP celebrating what's happened in the Surat court. What explains the BJP's relentless focus on Rahul Gandhi? Is Rahul Gandhi's political career now at the crossroads? Just some of the questions we'll raise. Syed Zafar Islam, BJP spokesperson with us. Mohammad Khan, Congress spokesperson and lawyer with me in the studio. Rahul Srivastava, National Affairs Editor. Am I right in saying the BJP is celebrating, Syed Zafar Islam, you might have heard Abhishek Manu Singhvi saying BJP is trying to stifle the voice of Rahul Gandhi. In Parliament, outside Parliament, you're gunning for him, filing criminal defamation cases in different parts of the country.
Well, there is absolutely no need for us to celebrate. There is no celebration in BJP camp. But there is a celebration somewhere else, and it is the OBC community which is actually celebrating, because they were subject to this harsh statement by Rahul Gandhi ji. They had been made his remarks were actually putting them under pressure. That a senior leader like Rahul Gandhi ji, who happens to be one of the senior most leader of the opposition party, and he is making remarks about particular community and section of the society. So they feel, OBC community feel very happy, they're jubilant that his request, the court has been turned down, his request has been dismissed, and he will continue to serve the sentence of 2 years.
Okay.
And that's why they feel happy and very excited. But as far as Bharatiya Janata Party is concerned, we have nothing to do with this case. Yes, we have a strong objection that he made a statement, but at the end of the day, it is court which has to pronounce the judgment which court had pronounced on the 23rd March. He appealed, and his appeal has been dismissed. So that suggests that how grave his remarks were, how he antagonized and has made such a harsh statement against a particular section of the society, a political community.
Okay.
And
let's leave it. Allow Mr. Khan to respond to what you said. Allow Mr. Khan. Mr. Khan, the BJP is saying that what the court is doing is only proving their claim that Rahul Gandhi insulted OBCs. They're going to make this a campaign. You've got an election in Karnataka. They're going to say Rahul Gandhi hasn't apologized. He's insulted OBCs. The court hasn't given him relief. Politically, it might make sense for Rahul Gandhi simply to say, look, I was misconstrued. I apologize, and just move on.
Right. I want to respond to Mr. Islam first. He made two very specific points. Mr. Islam says we are not the ones celebrating. No, it is not us celebrating. Islam sahab, बार-बार आपकी press conferences हो रही है, judgment आता है 1 घंटे बाद, your netas are sitting on your dais celebrating this, issuing statement after statement. So please, forgive me if I'm a little confused. 2, you said it is a victory of the OBC community. Zafar Islam sahab, I believe I can speak with some authority and say that neither you nor I are the voice of the OBC community, and we cannot claim to be their representatives. Do you know who can though? The OBC Mahasabha, which served a defamation notice on you on 4th April of this year, saying that you are trying to use their identity for your own personal purposes. And they cited these press conferences. So, sir, please don't take the responsibility, because you can't, of speaking for the OBC community. They're more than capable of speaking for themselves, and they have spoken on this issue, much to your chagrin. Sir, I would like to point out one thing. I am very optimistic, as are all of us in the Congress, that ultimately, with the highest of respect for the Honorable CJM and the Sessions Court, this judgment will be overturned. And there are two reasons for that. Dr. Singhvi elaborated on them, and I'll just say them in 2 sentences. One, the law of defamation sets very, very high standards. Otherwise, there'd be defamation suits willy-nilly. Anyone would be offended, they'd file a defamation suit. What does that mean? It means that defamation inheres in the person. Section 199 CRPC. I have it here, Zafar Saab, in case you want me to read it to you. Ultimately, I have to show that I am the person aggrieved. I cannot say that an indeterminate community has been aggrieved and not show damage. And that is one of the fundamental rules of defamation. And the second point, the learned judge has said, and you pointed this out, Mr. Sardesai, he has said that based on the above discussion, I hold that the learned counsel for the appellant Rahul Ji has failed in demonstrating that by not staying the conviction, etc., an irreversible and irrevocable damage is likely to be caused to the appellant. He's saying that no irreversible or grave damage will be caused to the appellant. Sir, within 24 hours of the judgment of the CJM court, they disqualified him. They have attempted to evict him from his house. They've cut his landline. Sir, forget all of these things, saying that these are not grave or irreversible. Do you know what a high court of this country, the Kerala High Court, said in an almost identical manner? In that case, by the way, in January of this year, the punishment was of 10 years. And look at what the High Court says. I'm saying this specifically for your viewers. If this man was also a member of parliament, if the sentence of conviction is not suspended, the consequence would be that due to the conviction and consequent disqualification under 8.3 of the Representation of People's Act, an election to the said constituency becomes inevitable. The next general election is to be held in 24. If election to Lakshadweep is to be held immediately on account of the conviction and consequent disqualification, the financial burden upon the government and indirectly upon the people is immense. Even after incurring enormous expenditure for the election, the elected candidate... Sir, I'll just finish. I'm just reading the judgment. Last line. Even after incurring enormous expenditure for the election, the elected candidate will have a term of only a period of fewer than 15 months. The aforesaid irreversible outcome cannot be ignored by this court since the consequence is drastic.
No. Mohammad Khan, you've quoted from a High Court order that involved the Lakshadweep MP who was charged at the time with seemingly attempted murder and has managed to get his conviction stayed. My limited point is, until such time, you're saying you're confident at some stage Rahul Gandhi will get relief. Till then, the BJP gets the political advantage. They will say Rahul Gandhi is an entitled dynast who doesn't believe that he must subject himself to the majesty of the law, refuses to apologize, and the OBCs, they will use it. This is politics. You may claim that neither Lalit Modi nor Nirav Modi are OBCs, but the fact is the people out there in Karnataka, where the Prime Minister and the BJP are talking point.
Fair question, and I'll respond to this. They have spent the better part of the last 10 years attempting to tarnish Rahulji on one thing or the other. It has not stuck. The very fact that this is what they have to resort to shows you how desperate they are. I have full faith in my brothers and sisters from the OBC community. In fact, they are the ones who issued a defamation notice on them. The OBC Mahasabha issued a defamation notice on them. So I am not concerned about Rahulji's image or the Congress's image being tarnished in the eyes of the OBC community. What I am surprised by is the BJP's desperation to hitch their cart to this particular horse.
Okay. Before Zafar Bhai, I know you're getting anxious, but Rahul Srivastava has been waiting very patiently, and Rahul will give us the big picture. Rahul, how is this playing out? Do you get a sense that the Congress has decided?
Too much to speak.
Yeah, no, 1 minute.
If at all they wanted to argue, he should have gone to the court to argue.
Okay, they've argued in the court, they've lost, they've argued all these matters, they've lost in the court.
When you're debating,
how does this play, Rahul Srivastava? How does this play
But you have given uninterrupted time of 5 minutes.
Sir, he was in the studio, he gets some benefit, it's not uninterrupted, he was quoting from a court order, the viewer needs to know about the court order.
No, he gets benefit
just a minute,
because
sir, please.
That benefit I can also get, Rahul.
I will also give you the benefit, just give me half a second, Rahul. Let Rahul Srivastava respond. Rahul, how is this playing out politically? Does Rahul Gandhi, is the Congress trying to position himself as a victim and take him to Karnataka as someone who is being victimized by the BJP? Is that the Congress's game plan?
Rajdeep, basically, if you see there are two game plans if we see unfolding right now. One is the BJP, the other is the Congress. Both of them, basically, their lives or future depends on what eventually the last word or legal word in this case is. Eventually, it is going to be decided, say, in High Court or Supreme Court, wherever, because it is possible that the complainant may go to the Supreme Court in case Rahul Gandhi gets a relief from the High Court. So the point here, Rajdeep, is what are they doing in the interim period between the sentencing, the lower court, and the final adjudication, the legal adjudication? The BJP is doing is taking the issue to the public. Each day it shows that it is, if not celebrating, it is rejoicing. It is trying to send across a repetitive message. One, Rajdeep, what we are saying in the press conference is different. What the cadres are doing, Rajdeep, the RSS and BJP cadres are nullifying what Rahul Gandhi has been saying vis-a-vis Adani and several others. They are saying Rahul Gandhi's word cannot be trusted. See, every time he speaks, he's in legal trouble. So that's the narrative the BJP is trying to build. Second, it's a godsend for them, Rajdeep, that the leader who walked some 3,500 odd kilometers across the nation, building a narrative, pushing his party ahead of the opposition spectrum, eventually cannot become the prime minister candidate today if the government falls. Because of some reason, if the government falls, Rahul Gandhi cannot be the united opposition's prime minister. Now, the second is what the Congress is doing. The Congress is trying to say that the judges have a problem. The courts, it is finding faults with the courts, Rajdeep. First, it was a lower court. Now it is a session court. Tomorrow, it can be the high court. It is trying to say that my Abhishek Manu Singhvi knows the law better than the judges who are sitting in the courts. But the fact is, they have to depend on the law. They're trying to get the sympathy factor. One, I don't think how they are doing it very well. The second important thing, they have already started, Rajdeep. If you see the caste census element that they have picked up in the last few days, is, I think, has a link to this case where the BJP is trying to push the Congress on the OBC front. It is definitely to create a wedge between the marriage BJP has created between Mandal and Kamandal. But I think there is an inkling that the Congress is trying to say OBCs don't trust what the BJP is saying. So I think there are two parallel narratives and games going on. One have to wait and see eventually what happens in the courts.
Very interesting. Syed Zafar Islam, you wanted to respond to Mohammad Khan. I didn't let you. Now is your turn. Please go ahead.
See, Rajdeep, there are two things which I wanted to convey. First of all, if at all he has so many arguments, legal arguments, then I think he should have represented in the court instead of in this debate. Because here, we are only particular about one thing, and that is what BJP is talking about, that Mr. Rahul Gandhi and entire family felt that they are above the law. They showed arrogance because court had given them a very clear option to say sorry, to apologize to the section of the society who has been hurt by his sentiment, he has insulted, and he had the option to say sorry and this matter would have ended there. But he chose to say, no, I won't say sorry because I am above the law. I represent Congress party and I am above the law and I represent the first family. That arrogance is something which we are talking about, that today court has shown that such arrogance will not work.
Your second point.
You have to comply with the law of the land, or if you show restraint, then of course you will have to be subject to the punishment by the law of the land. Second is, of course, the OBC committee. We were talking about OBC committee. Yes, we stand by them because we felt that they were hurt, they were insulted, and we raised their voice. And we wanted them to realize that we are with them. And if Congress party is insulting them, we will fight with them. If they're fighting the battle, we will fight.
So you're saying the OBCs are hurt, and you're making in a way your clear political stand. Therefore, I ask you, Mohammad Khan, again. You know, it seems to me that the battle lines are drawn. The Congress has now pushed the caste census line, saying the BJP doesn't want to bring in a caste census because they are afraid in a way of how it will play out politically. The BJP, on the other hand, is saying Rahul Gandhi has insulted OBCs. This isn't anymore about, about the law, but about politics now. And on politics, aren't you all worried that you're being pushed on the defensive?
Absolutely not. In fact, it is the BJP that is on the defensive, which is why they have to resort to causes like this. Contrived, forced, nobody. Can you show me one example of where someone who is not affiliated with the BJP or not a supporter of the BJP has gone to court and made this claim? It is a contrived and forced interpretation. Rahul ji never intended to offend the OBCs. The OBC community knows that, which is why, again, they have been served with a defamation notice by the OBC Mahasabha, not us. Two, again, Mr. Srivastava said we are finding fault with the lower courts, and I think that was a fair point to make, so I must answer that. Mr. Srivastava, if we went with that logic that the lower courts are infallible, then by God, no appeal would ever succeed. We have faith. We had faith in the CJM's court. We had faith in the Learned Sessions court. We still do. And we have faith in the High Court and we have faith in the Supreme Court. Mr. Zafar Islam, you said, why didn't we argue these points before the law? We are arrogant. Mr. Islam, do you know how many cases your people, your supporters, your colleagues have filed against Rahul Gandhi? Do you know he goes to court personally and every single one of them stands there before the court with the respect for the majesty of the court in the process? You do not know this. Let me ask you, how many of your leaders do this? So don't say we are arrogant. We are humble before the law. Okay. And that is why we stand here in appeal.
Okay, you're humble before the law. You're humble in TV studios. You make your points. This battle will continue. Rahul Gandhi will continue in a way to make the headlines one way or the other. Zafar Islam, Mohammad Khan, Rahul Srivastav, appreciate your joining me on our big talking point tonight. Let me turn from there to a story that should concern us all. Remember the film No One Killed Jessica? Well, now there could be a new title. No One Killed Anyone in Naroda Gam. On February 28, 2002, 11 Muslims were burnt to death after a mob attack in Ahmedabad's Naroda Gam during the 2002 Gujarat riots. 21 years later, a special court in Ahmedabad acquitted all the accused, including former Gujarat Minister Maya Kodnani and VHP leader Babu Bajrangi, of all the charges. It's our other big story tonight.
Feb 28, 2002. 11 people are burnt to death in Naroda Gam area of Ahmedabad in the riots that followed the train burning incident in Godhra. Over 20 years later, a special court in Ahmedabad acquits all the 69 accused, including former Gujarat Minister and BJP leader Maya Kodnani, Bajrang Dal leader Babu Bajrangi, and Vishwa Hindu Parishad leader Jaideep Patel. All the accused were already out on bail.
वास्तव में कोर्ट ने एक अभूतपूर्व फैसला दिया है और सभी कोर्टों की यह आईना दिखाया है कि हमेशा सत्य की जीत होती है। कोई भी पुलिस भी हो चाहे सरकार हो, गलत केस करके अगर फंसा देना चाहती है, लेकिन कोर्ट जो है वो न्याय करती है।
केस चलाने में माहौल में ऐसा है कि इस केस चलाने में जो न्याय की प्रक्रिया है उसके अंदर जो समय लगता है, उस समय के अंदर ये प्रक्रिया में इतना लंबा विलम्ब हुआ है, लेकिन न्याय देर से मिला लेकिन दुरुस्त से मिला है।
आज हम एक बार फिर से ये सवाल पूछ रहे हैं कि इन 11 लोगों को किसने जिंदा जलाया था, कौन इसके लिए जिम्मेदार था और क्यों आज भी ये पीड़ित परिवार इंसाफ के लिए तरस रहे हैं और इनको आज भी इंसाफ नहीं मिला।
In 2017, Union Home Minister Amit Shah had appeared in the court after Maya Kodnani added him as a witness. Shah told the court he had seen Kodnani in the State Assembly around 8:30 a.m. and later at the civil hospital around 11 a.m. Kodnani's lawyers had cited the testimony to back their alibi claim for the killings that took place after 9 a.m. Over 20 years after the horrific riots, the Naroda Gam victims are still waiting for justice.
Now in 2008 there was a special SIT form and in 2009 the hearing actually started. Now over 13 to 14 years this hearing was going on and today the judgment is out wherein all 69 accused are being set free, which includes Maya Kodnani, who is the ex-cabinet minister, Babu Bajrangi and several other VHP leaders. Now this is the win-win situation for all of them. Now it will be very important to see how this judgment is challenged further. The advocates on the other side said that all these accused, based on the technical grounds and other evidence, have been set free because all of them were not present at the time of the incident where this particular case actually took place. With camera person Vaibhav Kangutkar, this is Saurabh Vaktania for India Today.
It happens in riot after riot. We saw a few weeks ago when it came to the Malyana massacre. Again, it appears everyone seems to get away. It happened with the 84 anti-Sikh riots. It's happened in cases in the 1992 Mumbai riots. Now 2002. Failure of our criminal justice system is stark in communal riot cases. Let's turn from there to the BJP chief JP Nadda, who on the campaign trail in Karnataka called Prime Minister Modi a blessing for the state. Now that sparked a big political showdown. The Congress has latched on to this remark and claimed that the BJP is being ruled as a dictatorship and the people of Karnataka will not accept this. How is this Kannada pride playing out on the ground? Take a look.
State of War Karnataka has a new flashpoint, a remark by BJP chief JP Nadda inviting attack from Congress. At Shigaon, BJP chief JP Nadda said Karnataka should elect a BJP government and continue getting Prime Minister Modi's blessings and development.
जो मोदी जी का आशीर्वाद है उससे कर्नाटक कहीं वंचित ना हो जाए, इसलिए मेरा आपसे निवेदन है कि आपने कमल को जिताना है और कर्नाटक के विकास को आगे बढ़ाना है। इस बात के लिए आपको काम करना है।
The Congress slammed JP Nadda and took a dictator jibe at Prime Minister Modi and said the BJP needs lessons in democracy.
What happened in 15th Finance Commission? Mr. Nadda unnecessarily misleading the people.
BJP and Congress locked horns over Nadda's statement. While Congress claimed BJP is insulting Karnataka, the BJP asserted that only a double-engine saffron government is in best interest of Karnataka.
Karnataka needs a good government, and we have seen the government of BJP. That was with the blessings of Prime Minister Modi, the most corrupt government. So does the Karnataka government deserve that kind of a government?
Where there is a Congress party has never developed anything, any state for that matter. And the bogus propaganda they are making, people will not believe that.
The Congress has been taking on the BJP, making Kannada pride a big issue. The campaign putting milk brand Nandini against Amul was part of the Congress strategy to corner BJP.
This has triggered a lot of political reactions, with the opposition slamming JP Nadda, saying this comment was absolutely arrogant and this has insulted the pride of crores of Kannadigas. Well, with elections just around the corner, it remains to be seen how the people of Karnataka will see this statement, which is perceived by many as overconfident and arrogant. With video journalist Tinku, Anurag Keshav for India Today, Bengaluru.
Joining me now on our face-off on Karnataka, Prashant GS is BJP spokesperson, Aishwarya Mahadev is Congress spokesperson, and I want to ask you all both. It appears at the moment that the strategies are being drawn where the BJP is banking on the double-engine Modi factor, the Congress on local factors. Am I right, Aishwarya Mahadev, that the Congress is using any and every opportunity to try and localize this election, Nandini versus Amul one day, even using the war in Sudan to say that Kannadigas are caught in the conflict? Find one local issue every day, true or not?
Good evening, Rajdeep. I think this is an election of local issues because the BJP in their term have been completely mired in corruption and destroyed what is Bangalore and what is Karnataka. For us, we are talking about issues of focus, issues of the common man, and issues that plague the people of Karnataka, and that we believe should be the focus of this election. It is not about 20 rallies of a prime minister who basically comes and makes these big pompous statements, or a party president that says this. It is not wrong for us to fight elections on issues. The BJP, however, Rajdeep, please allow me to tell you, is so morally and developmentally bankrupt that JP Nadda had to come and threaten us Kannadigas, saying if you do not vote for the BJP, you won't have Modi's blessings. Give me 30 seconds. You know what Modi's blessings have been to my state? You do not have our GST dues. For 35,000 crores of flood damage, we got only 1,800 crores there. In terms of devolution, for every single rupee a Karnataka person sends, we get only 15 paisa back. 865 villages of my state are being contested by Maharashtra, which is, mind you, another BJP coalition state. You saw our banks, Vijaya Bank, Corporation Bank, Bank of Mysore being merged, and you saw how it took away the pride of Karnataka's banking institutions, and you also saw the fight of Nandini. There has been no Modi's blessings here. It has been not double engine, it is double doka, double droha to my state. And we want to talk about what they're doing to us.
Okay, so you are openly saying you want to make this election about Kannada pride. Prashant, you want to respond to that?
It is about local issues,
the
Raj.
Congress, 1 minute ma'am now. Congress is effectively saying that this whole double engine argument works against Kannada pride. You're on mute. Prashant, you're on mute.
Rajdeep, let me put it on record straight away, saying that Congress firstly has no agenda at all today. The agenda is anti-national agenda, because if you look at this Congress star campaigners list, at serial number 37 of the list, they have a person called Imran Pratap Garhi, whom they have brought in as a star campaigner for the state of Karnataka. And what is his links? He calls Atiq Ahmed, a Don who had about 100 cases on him, as Dil Ki Dhadkan. And Atiq Ahmed responds by saying that, "Hey, mera bhai jaisa hai, mera bhai hai." And these are the people who are involved in Bharat Thodo Yatra and the Tukde Tukde gang. So Congress, by talking on local issues, are bringing anti-national elements here to do campaigning. And to respond to the other jibe that double-engine government is not doing anything. Each of the Prime Minister's projects, may it be Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana or Jal Jeevan Mission or Kisan Samman Yojana, everything has been done without discrimination on caste, creed or religion. So therefore, Congress completely bankrupt on any ideas politically to say that what they're doing, they're trying to emote people on issues where controversies don't exist. They try to bring in regionalism in Amul versus Nandini, where the controversy did not exist because India is a free market. Nandini is also selling in other states. They're trying to incite people's fear in people's minds by saying that Congress is an alternative, whereas if Congress ever even attempts to come back to power, probably it will be the most disastrous day in Indian politics because we have seen how they are always back anti-national people.
So you're saying, very interesting.
Imran Pratap Garhi now. So
you're using Imran Pratap Garhi for our viewers. Imran Pratap Garhi is a Rajya Sabha MP from Maharashtra, hails from UP. The BJP has brought out videos, old videos, where he's seen with Atiq Ahmed, the criminal don politician, and attacked the Congress. Are you all worried, therefore, Aishwarya? The BJP is very clear. You're playing Kannada pride. They are saying the Congress is anti-national.
You know, Rajdeep, are not playing Kannada pride as much as we're highlighting local issues. And I thought the BJP is only morally and developmentally bankrupt. They seem to be informationally bankrupt too. I don't want to talk about this particular person and his relation to how he voted for the BJP in a particular vote or how Mr. Oja happens to be very close and who Mr. Oja is, everybody knows. But let's keep it to the issues. This is what the BJP does. When they have no plank, when they have no actual agenda or a pro-people plank in Karnataka, they resort to threatening, they resort to obviously communalizing and polarizing and also pushing this narrative of communalism and anti-national. Sir, tell me, what have you done for the people of Karnataka? You have done absolutely nothing. You run a 40% commission government and you have the gall to come here and sit and talk about a Congress government that is delivered to the people.
The person who made the allegation has to face defamation in the court.
Of what you have done.
He has to face defamation in the court. Don't forget it.
They have no issues. They will try to communalize. This is all. The Congress is on two agendas. This is a 40% commission government that needs to be thrown out, and we have guaranteed.
Rajiv Gandhi was on record stating that this was an 85%
Ask Mr. Prashant to debate on the topic. If he has not read up enough, then boo-hoo. Very unfortunate for him.
Aishwarya, you made your point. Let's not get personal.
Kindly recall the words of Rajiv Gandhi, Prime Minister from Congress, when the Congress had a majority of 400 plus. What was the statement on the floor of the Parliament? Saying that for every 1 rupee that goes out from Delhi, 15 paisa reaches the public, which means Congress from time immemorial has been indulging in scams, and therefore your question of saying that it's 40%, though 40% is no basis because the person who made the allegation, when one of our ministers filed a case against him to prove it, it went to the court, he could not submit documents and he had to be taken in judicial custody. Whereas on Rajiv Gandhi's statement that there is 85% commission, there's nothing on record. We know how Congress is married in controversies and scams. So therefore, Congress is trying to create an issue where there is none. And we've all seen the party president there, Mr. Shiv Kumar, married in controversies in disproportionate assets case, and their leader, now Rahul Gandhi, who is now disqualified for making uncharacteristic remarks, and their star campaigners who are anti-nationals. So where do they come from? You take Sonia Gandhi on the star campaign list?
I'm going to leave it there. Prashant.
So therefore, Congress has got nothing to do here excepting trying to make issue where there's none.
You're saying that Congress is manufacturing. Sir, whether Imran Pratap Garhi has anything to do with Karnataka is an issue we will debate on another day. But clearly at the moment, there is an attempt by the Congress to localize the election. and the BJP is still playing on the fact that they claim they are the true national party. Prashant, Aishwarya, appreciate you joining me here on the news today. Let's take a break. Up next, we're turning to the story of Anurag Malu, the Indian climber who's been rescued from Mount Annapurna after a harrowing 4-day search. We'll be telling you his story when we return. You're watching the news today. News without the noise.
As State of War Karnataka begins, a reminder, who is the true number one? The 5 big voices speak to us before all the others. From Chief Minister Bommai to Chief Challenger Siddaramaiah, from old warhorse Yadurappa to muscleman DK Shivakumar and Kingmaker Kumaraswamy. When it's Karnataka, there's no competition. India's #1 election channel.
8% growth is what the company has seen. Tell us about how the financial year for 2024 is looking like now, and what are the growth plans for the coming year now?
Okay, so we measure our results on calendar year basis. So last year the results that you saw were on calendar year. This year our plan is to grow by at least 40 to 45% even more. That's the ambition. Of course, I'm a sales guy. I would also always like to sell more and more. We will see how the year goes. If I look back at quarter one has been good for us. We have grown our sales by almost 15% compared to similar period last year. The industry has grown, by the way, by 11%. So definitely the signals are positive. I think the portfolio that we have showcased also shows our ambition in terms of how we want to grow.
So I'd like to ask you on the electric vehicle penetration. India year-on-year growth is about 100% we have seen. So what are Volkswagen's plans for electric vehicles?
I think it's pretty clear if you look at it from an objective point of view that the way forward for the brand has definitely to be electrification. In fact, almost 3 weeks ago, our global CEO, Mr. Thomas Schaefer, also had an interaction with the media, with the Indian media, and he very clearly said that the path for the brand globally is electrification, and if it means global, India has to be a big part of it.
And any timelines could you give us on the vehicles?
It's difficult for me to comment formally on what the timelines are, but I think the important thing is to take the steps as they come. Of course, it has to start from top down, bringing in some of our already existing products worldwide, bringing them through the parts and components route in the premium range, and then moving towards mass electrification.
Welcome back. Let's turn from there to a story that hopefully will have a happy ending. Mountaineer Anurag Malu has been rescued alive from Mount Annapurna after a harrowing 4-day hunt. Malu fell into a 6,000-meter deep gorge in the Nepal mountain, was rescued after an intensive rescue operation, but he's still in a critical stage. It's our special report tonight.
Mountaineer Anurag Malu is rescued more than 72 hours after he fell into a 300-meter deep crevasse. Anurag, a resident of Kishangarh in Rajasthan, went missing on Monday when he was descending from Mountain Annapurna, the 10th highest mountain in the world, known for its treacherous terrain. A team of 6 Sherpa climbers, led by Chung Dawa Sherpa, conducted a group search and rescued Anurag. Anurag was rushed to a hospital in Pokhara, from where he was taken to a Kathmandu hospital for advanced care. His condition remains critical.
He is found alive. He has been taken to the hospital into the critical stage. He is in very critical stage, but he is still alive.
Back home, his family is optimistic about his recovery.
वर्ल्ड लेवल से उसको जो दुआएं और आशीर्वाद मिला है, उसकी सबकी वर्ल्ड लेवल की अर्जी भगवान ने सुन के उसको सुरक्षित रखा है, सुरक्षित निकाला है और आगे भी उसको सुरक्षित रखेंगे.
Anurag is an experienced climber. He has won multiple awards and scaled Mount Amadablam last year. Mount Annapurna is considered as one of the most difficult and dangerous climbs. Anurag aims to conquer the 10th highest peak in the world. Bureau Report, India Today.
And our good wishes for Malu's speedy recovery. We hope Anurag recovers very soon. Okay, just about enough time to leave you with these images of two white tiger cubs released for public viewing at Delhi Zoo enclosure. The two white tiger cubs were born in the zoo after a gap of 7 years in August 2022. Those are lovely pictures with which to leave you with. You stay well, stay safe. Good night, Shubhratri, Jai Hind, Namaskar.
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 37 and minimum 26 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 35 and minimum 28 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 45 and minimum 27 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 32 and minimum 26 degrees. Chennai, maximum 35 and minimum 26 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 40 and minimum 27 degrees.
Why does this happen? Let me tell you the science behind it.
For more informative videos like this, keep watching India Today News Mo. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
India is at a tipping point, and it feels so great to be here. You can just feel the vibrancy, the dynamism, the feeling that anything here is possible, and it's so great to be a part of it. I feel so great to be back.
You know, it's an interesting market. It's the youngest population in the world. We're seeing so many people here, design school, aspirational, tech savvy. When you're looking at the Indian market, does it require a unique approach? What's the strategy like for India?
Every place is unique. You know, India has its own journey and its own culture, and so you really have to understand the local culture, I think, to do well in a country. And so we're trying to bring our best to India. We brought the online store a few years ago. We brought now a retail store. We'll expand the retail presence on Thursday with a store in Delhi. We have manufacturing here. We have an extraordinary developer community here. We have musicians. It's great to interface with the artists and the creators here. So there's a huge Apple community in India.
And we're pleased that you're delighted to be here. But you said before that you are excited about India. You are bullish about India. What are the top 3 things that really excite you about India?
I'm excited about the culture. I'm excited about the people. I'm excited about this feeling here that is hard to describe, but you know it when you feel it. The vibrancy of it all, the energy, the enthusiasm. I'm excited about all of those things.
Tim, the energy when you were here the last time around, is there genuinely an increase in the energy levels from the last time you were here?
I think there is. Maybe that was, maybe COVID shook us all. I'm not sure. But it feels like there's even more energy now than there was before.
Co-presented by General Air Conditioners, the Extreme Machine. Powered by You Grow Capital, non-stop business करने की आजादी. Co-powered by American Tourister, born to cross boundaries. Volkswagen Verter. Tata Trucks, देश के trucks.
Good evening. There's been a major terror strike in Jammu and Kashmir. 5 army soldiers have been killed in action in a terror strike on the Rajouri highway. The terror strike was in a place near Bimbar Gully where an army truck was targeted by terrorists. The terrorists initially hurled some kind of an incendiary explosive device that led to an explosion and fire, and then the terrorists opened fire at that army truck that you see on your television screen. 5 jawans of a Rashtriya Rifles battalion that was deployed in that area were killed in the strike. The 6th was rushed to hospital where his condition is described as stable. Chief of the Army Staff, General Manoj Pandey, has briefed Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh, and what we are being told by sources on ground is that the army is to intensify counter-terror operations south of Pir Panjal. The army, in fact, some years ago had actually cleared the area south of Pir Panjal of terror to a very large extent. But in the past couple of years, there have been multiple instances of terrorists crossing the line of control and targeting security forces south of Pir Panjal. In fact, this isn't just happening in the Rajouri belt. There have been multiple instances there, but even along the Jammu Udhampur highway, there have been instances, and in those instances, we'll talk about that in greater detail during the broadcast. Terrorists have also used sticky bombs, but this was a grenade attack followed by firing. And this is classic terror tactics when terrorists occupy the higher ground and then open fire and then melt into the mountains. But incidentally, this time there was also an intelligence alert given that G20 summit is to happen. I'm Gaurav Sawant. I'll get you much more on the story, but first, the headlines. An army vehicle attacked by Jaish-e-Mohammed-backed terrorist outfit in Rajouri. 5 soldiers killed. Army chief briefs the defense minister. All accused, including former Gujarat Minister Maya Kodnani and Babu Bajrangi, acquitted in the Naroda Gam massacre case. 11 people had died in 2002. Major setback for disqualified Congress Member of Parliament Rahul Gandhi in the Modi surname defamation case. Surat court rejects plea for stay on conviction. Upholds 2-year jail term. Congress now to move the High Court. Uttar Pradesh police recreate Atiq Ahmed crime scene in Prayagraj. Narco test of Atiq's killers likely in a big confession. The shooters admit a link to the Bhati gang. Fugitive Khalistan supporter Amritpal Singh's wife stopped at the Amritsar airport. She was en route London. Police say Kirandi barred from flying as a precautionary measure.
And our top focus story on India First remains this terror strike in Jammu and Kashmir, where 5 soldiers were killed in action in a terror strike along the Jammu-Punch-Rajouri highway. These terrorists struck near Bimbar Gali, and this is a highly militarized area. There are several military formations that are deployed along the Jammu-Punch-Rajouri highway. Now, some of these areas are not very far from the line of control, but then the army always says that there is a multi-tier security grid in place. In fact, in some places there are 3 tiers, in some places there are 4. The terrorists hurled some kind of an incendiary explosive device at this military truck and opened fire, first at the driver and then at the occupants of the truck, and then the terrorists fled. 5 jawans of a Rashtriya Rifles battalion deployed in the area were killed in this terror strike. The Raksha Mantri, Rajnath Singh, he's been briefed by the army chief. The information that we have is that counter-terror operations will be intensified south of Pir Panjal. The question remains, when military trucks move, when convoys move, there is always a road opening party in place. The effort is to dominate higher ground. When longer convoys move or when bigger convoys move, there are hideouts or highway domination teams. But there is still lack of clarity on the movement of this lone military vehicle with jawans. Some suggest this was a local movement from one formation to the other, and this truck was bringing in unit rations when it was targeted by terrorists who were on higher ground. They fired at the truck and then melted away. The terrorists, we are told, hurled grenades, some incendiary material, and then opened fire. 1 jawan was rushed to office. The army has mounted operations to nab terrorists. Now, when you look at that truck, you can also see that there are civilian vehicles that came, and the civilians have also given the army some information about firing that came from higher ground at this military truck. A lot of reactions coming in. Let's quickly listen in before I get you more on the story.
Blood of our brave hearts will not go in vain. Their martyrdom will not go in vain. And all these culprits, these terrorists will be neutralized. They have to face the serious consequences, the sin they committed. For that they will be punished.
Now that this incident has taken place, I am very certain the army and the paramilitary forces and the JK police know what to do. The entire area must have been cordoned off. Huge amount of search operation would have been already launched, and I am very certain that they will not be allowed to exfiltrate, and sooner or later, within the next 24 hours or 48 hours, they will be taken to task and the terrorists will be eliminated.
But are these terrorists trying to exfiltrate, as in go back to Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, or are they going in deeper and will try and get to Kashmir? The question that also remains is whether there was a road opening party in place. Were terrorists monitoring movement of military vehicles? Was it standard for a lone vehicle to move in this area, or were standard operating procedures not followed? I want to quickly bring in our guests and our reporters on ground. I have SP Vaid, former Director General of Jammu and Kashmir Police, joining me. Shiv Arur joins me on the broadcast, and Shiv has reported very extensively from Ground Zero. But my first question is to India Today's Sunilji Bhatt, who joins us live from Jammu and Kashmir. Sunilji, what more information do we have about the terror strike and counter-terror operations, if any?
Well, Gaurav, Jammu and Kashmir is witnessing heavy rainfall for last couple of days, and today also it rained a lot in the evening. So it's going to create a lot of problems for the security forces as far as the search operation is concerned, as well as this anti-terror operation is concerned. Remember, Gaurav, this is the same area and same spot where a fierce encounter broke out way back in 2021 October, and that, search operation lasted for many weeks. The terrorists managed to give a slip to the security forces, and after many weeks, the operation was called off. The terrain also remains a big challenge for the security forces, given the fact that this area is surrounded by tall mountains and dense forests. So Gaurav, it's going to take many days as far as this entire operation is concerned. But it's a tragic bit of news that has come in. 5 of our brave hearts have made the supreme sacrifice of their lives, and this army vehicle was ambushed from 3 sides. That's what our sources are saying, that from 3 sides this vehicle was ambushed, and it's clear that these terrorists had prior information about the movement of this truck. So an investigation will be carried out whether there were any lapses locally on part of the security forces, but that's a different matter. But right now the priority is to neutralize these terrorists who carried out this attack, and these terrorists would not have been able to carry out this attack without the help of locals.
Yes, and the fact remains, twice in the past, terrorists have succeeded in striking and melting into these forests, and the army wasn't successful in nabbing them. Shiv, there were also intelligence inputs this time about military installations being targeted, about military convoys being targeted, given the fact that this is the G20 summit here. India is the president of G20. A hostile Pakistan would want to embarrass India, and the fact that Pakistan's foreign minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari is coming for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization foreign ministers meet in May. What have you been able to gather from your sources, Shiv?
A very, very worrying episode. 5 soldiers killed, and this isn't the first attack on an army convoy this year, Gaurav, as you know. The Bimbar Gully area, on the Poonch highway is already an extremely restive zone. And if you look at the pictures that we have, this is a hilly terrain. There is an elevation just off the road, heavily wooded area. It was raining there. It was, heavily overcast as well. So lots of hiding places. We do know that there was apparently a road opening party. The protocol was being followed, but there may have been some lapses which will only emerge once the investigation is conducted. 5 soldiers lost their lives in this. It appears to be some kind of incendiary explosive used, probably a grenade of some kind, which is something that the army, has pointed to in its statement. But most certainly a terrorist attack. Now, how many terrorists there were, where they were located, where they've gone. Remember, this area is not very far from the line of control. Were there local elements? Did they come in from the other side? How does this line up with the intelligence input that had been provided by the J&K police to the army a few days ago about, possible attempts to increase levels of violence ahead of the, the big G20 meet in Srinagar in May this year. All of these coming together add up to an extremely troubling episode, Gaurav. Attacks on convoys have happened many times in the past, both in the Kashmir, in Jammu and Kashmir, as well as in the northeast. The Indian Army knows all too well the vulnerabilities that convoys and trucks especially have, especially in these areas. And remember, terrorist elements in these areas know the lay of the land extremely well. They have spent hours, years, studying the movement and the logistics of army and paramilitary convoys. And that's the reason why when they set out to, hit or strike some of these convoys, more often than not, they are successful. So you can have all the protocol in the world, drones in some cases as well, to sanitize areas of this kind. But at the end of the day, sometimes terrorists are able to make that hit. Like I said, we'll have to wait till an investigation completely unearths whether there were more lapses than these.
Okay, Shiv, for the moment, many thanks for joining me. I also want to bring into this conversation SP Vaid, former Director General of the Jammu and Kashmir Police. Sir, you know the lay of this land very well. You've been posted to some of these areas. But what I want to understand from you, sir, the information is terrorists opened fire from 3 sides. The terrorists are learned to have fired more than 50 rounds. Was this a lone truck? And if it was, then was this not a major lapse on the part of the army if there was no immediate retaliatory strike on terrorists firing at a military vehicle from 3 sides, sir?
Gaurav, you're absolutely right. There were intelligence inputs about possible major strike in the run-up to the G20 meeting in Kashmir. And already, Pakistan is pissed off. We all know it. It's going around all over the world talking about it garnering support, though it's isolated nation in the world today. But yes, it has China on its side. China also, if you recall, when Honorable Home Minister visited Arunachal Pradesh, how China named some villages from its side. Both these nations did object to meeting in Kashmir, and it was expected. I was expecting some major strike in the days to come, and unfortunately it has happened. My tribute to the martyrs, and my heart goes to the family.
But the question remains, if terrorists can come from somewhere else and dominate, the army is deployed there. We've been there for more than 70 years. We know the lay of the land better, and we should be able to hit back immediately and hit back for effect. The terrorists were able to do that in 2021, target the security forces and melt away, and till date nobody has been caught.
Absolutely, Gaurav. You see, there is definitely SOP violation has taken place. I don't think SOP has been followed. There was no point, even if it was a short distance, as is being said, that it was a administrative
local administrative move for rations.
This should not have been allowed, particularly when you know what happened only a year back in October 2021, and that group was not apprehended or neutralized. You had a terror attack in Rajouri. That group is still out. And so this place is so near to the LOC.
Yes.
It is a thick forested area. Absolutely, there's no justification of allowing one vehicle to go. That's why you are not able to retaliate. And initially, everyone thought there's a lightning has happened and vehicle caught the fire, because weather is very bad today. I am here in Jammu. But look at it's a classical terror ambush attack on the vehicle, and they had information probably that a lone vehicle is coming up. That's why they struck this particular vehicle. And when grenade hits the fuel tank, fuel tank punctures, it catches fire, and something like that has happened. And I'm told the steel coated bullets have been used, which I saw way back in first time used in 2017 in Pulwama police line.
Terror strike. You're absolutely right, sir.
Attack. So it has been properly planned, racked, and then executed. And this area is thickly forested.
In my own country, what's absolutely horrifying, Mr. Ved, is that in my own country, I can get ambushed and the terrorists can get away with it. That is shocking, given the fact that this is an area where it was by and large said that terrorists had been sorted out. Terrorism was restricted just to a few pockets, a few districts in South Kashmir and the route from North Kashmir. But once again, it appears that terrorists are back south of Pir Panjal, and the army or the security apparatus is slow to hit back.
I completely agree with you, Gaurav. If you see the trend of last 2 years, after abrogation of Article 370, Kashmir is showing signs of improvement, and particularly Jammu region is being targeted in last 2 years. And look at the attacks, repeated attacks happening. October 2021, we had 9 casualties of the army, which is a big setback. And today, 5, and 6th one is struggling. We didn't have much successes in Rajouri Poonch. I think we need to look into within something is amiss, and Pakistan deep state is able to disturb this particular region of Rajouri Poonch very badly, and Jammu region as a whole in general. So we need to be very, very careful. Now, my another request would be that today only the announcement was made by Pakistan that their foreign minister, Mr. Bilawal Bhutto, will be coming here. I think we should not welcome foreign minister of such a country, which is so openly using cross-border terrorism against our nation. I think a clear message must go.
maybe, since that's a multilateral forum of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, continue talking at the multilateral level, but make Pakistan bleed more, like in Balakot. Is that the template that needs to be followed? We'll track that story very closely. But for joining me here, Mr. Ved, as always, sir, many thanks. Let me now get you the latest in Don Atiq's murder investigation. The special investigation team recreated the crime scene using dummies at Prayagraj's Motilal Nehru Medical College or the Calvin Hospital, where gangsters Atiq Ahmed and his brother Ashraf were shot dead while being taken for a routine medical examination. The 5-member forensic team was also at the spot conducting forensic tests. They've been carrying out ballistic tests. The SIT is carrying out a parallel investigation to find out the lapses in the role of the Uttar Pradesh police. Our Uttar Pradesh Bureau gets us more.
The real crime versus the recreation. 5 days after the shooting of Atiq Ahmed and his brother Ashraf, the UP police attempted to recreate the whole 22-second sequence where 3 shooters fired 18 bullets at Atiq and Ashraf. Body doubles for Atiq and Ashraf were brought in. A sea of security was deployed along with a forensic team. All preparations were made to make the crime scene look as authentic as possible. And finally, 3 men posing as shooters were brought in. The Atiq Ashraf body doubles then pretend to speak to the media. Suddenly from the left, images we're so familiar with now, a man emerges and shoots the Atiq dummy in the head. Atiq and Ashraf's body doubles fall to the ground, and as the shooters attack, they then surrender. The exact way the shooters surrendered, the angle from which they shot, their bike on the ground, every moment of the Atiq shooting recreated to the T.
You can see in the visuals that what has happened, the scene has been recreated exactly like what it happened that night. You can see that these 3 people imposing as, the gangsters are shooting. The police will now gun them down. The police will now take them down as exactly it happened that night.
Sources have told India Today that the police are likely to conduct a narco test of the attackers after permission from the court, even as their questioning continues by the police. Sources tell India Today that the shooters wanted to carry out the attack a day before, on April the 14th, but chickened out after seeing massive police arrangements. Sunny Singh, who's been linked to the Surinder Bhati gang, reportedly is the mastermind of the shooting. The assailants are being interrogated about the motive behind the shooting of Atiq and his brother, how they got their hands on weapons that cost 7 lakh rupees each. They're also being grilled on how they knew Atiq's location and also why they raised Jai Shri Ram slogans. Finally, the police have asked the shooters why they didn't carry their mobile phones with them when they carried out the attack. With Simar Chawla in Prayagraj, UP, Bureau Report, India Today.
And the Atiq Ahmed, Ashraf Ahmed killing has now escalated into a massive political slugfest. Instances by different political parties and leaders praising Atiq Ahmed at one point of time or the other has led to a massive controversy. The Bharatiya Janata Party has hit out at Congress Party Member of Parliament Imran Pratapgarhi for saying that he is a Don's close friend and questioned why he had been roped in for the Congress Party's Karnataka campaign. So this is also now an issue in Karnataka elections, or is it? We bring you this report.
हमारे छोटे भाई कहिए या हमारे दिल की धड़कन कहिए,
हमारा भाई इमरान प्रतापगढ़ी वकील साहब
This bonhomie between its Rajya Sabha MP Imran Pratap Gadi and slain mafia don Atiq Ahmed is haunting Congress, casting a shadow on the Karnataka Congress campaign ahead of elections in the state. Imran Pratap Gadi figures in the Congress star campaigners list for Karnataka. Years ago, he was caught singing lavish praises for the dreaded mafia don. Atiq in return had described the Congress MP as his younger brother in this video now tweeted by the BJP.
हमारे छोटे भाई कहिए या हमारे दिल की धड़कन कहिए, हमारा भाई इमरान प्रतापगढ़ी वकील साहब
The BJP saw red over what it called Congress nexus with the once dreaded gangster behind murders, kidnapping and land grab cases.
उत्तर प्रदेश में गैंगस्टर के साथ थे, गैंगस्टर का फ्रेंड है, गैंगस्टर आतिक अहमद, अशरफ अहमद का वो गुरु मानते थे। ऐसा इमरान प्रताप गढ़ी आपको कर्नाटका इलेक्शन का स्टार कैंपेन का लिस्ट में कांग्रेस रखा है।
कांग्रेस पार्टी के इस चरित्र के विषय में कि जो लोग हिंदुस्तान के खिलाफ बोलते हैं उनको प्रमोट करना, उनको राजनीति में आगे रखना, उनको स्टार प्रचारक बनाना, ये तो कांग्रेस समय समय पर करती रही है।
The Congress, however, defended Imran Pratap Gadi's ties with gangster Atiq.
Imran Pratap Gadi is the chairman of our minority cell and he will be coming. What is wrong in that? We are not saying that someone who is coming, who is under that, who had committed some crime, who is behind the bars, we are not doing that.
Earlier, a Congress leader from Uttar Pradesh's Prayagraj had laid tricolour on grave of Atiq Ahmed and had sought posthumous Bharat Ratna for the slain gangster, calling him a martyr. He was suspended by the Congress after his video went viral and caused massive backlash.
अतीक अहमद का जिस तरह से योगी सरकार ने मर्डर कराया, योगी जी को इस्तीफा देना चाहिए और मैं ये मांग करता हूं कि अतीक अहमद को भारत रत्न दिया जाए।
Will netas go to any extent just for votes? Bureau Report, India Today.
Some of this does look like the theatre of the absurd, but that's exactly what it is, with some even wanting Shaista Parveen, the absconding wife of Atiq Ahmed, to be treated as a freedom fighter. That is all I have for you on India First this evening. Many thanks for watching. Business Today up next with Sakshi Batra. Stay with us.
Bullets flew, our cameras rolled. Inches away from point-blank killing. 2023's biggest crime story plays out live.
Immediately shot all Atiq as well as Ashraf, and on the spot.
Just that short dramatic sequence got on camera by India Today's crew right there in Prayagraj.
The bloody end of gangster Atiq Ahmed. Up close with terrifying gangster Raj. India's #1 crime reporters. Fearless, unstoppable, unmatched. Nobody reports crime like India Today.
For the world, it was his party office where he chalked out his political plans. But in reality, it was his den of debauchery. He watched Mujra here, engaged in sleazy activities, and ran his illegal mafia raj. This was Don Atiq Ahmed's office, but in reality it was his adda to carry out his sinful activities. India today has exposed the Ahmed brothers' dark truths. There was a specific room at Atiq's office where Ashraf used to watch mujra or dirty dancing with his aides.
This was the area where 3 platforms are made. This is one, the other one is this, and the third is this. Now this would suggest, and the sources tell, that when Ashraf, was used to come here with his gang members, he used to see the dance of the girls, and the crime had been registered against him in that matter also, and he used to spend his leisure time, doing injustice with the girls. He used to illegally capture them and used to bring here.
The office has now been razed to the ground by authorities.
Right now I'm standing outside the office of Atiq Ahmed and Ashraf Ahmed, which has been demolished by the Prayagraj Development Authority. You can see in the visual, this was the office in the Chakia area, in the epicenter of this very particular city. A cream area which was illegally occupied by Atiq Ahmed through force, as per the government officials.
Atiq's Mafia Raj was not limited only to Uttar Pradesh, but extended to nearby states as well. In India's capital, Atiq tried to capture a house in 2006 using muscle power.
इस प्रॉपर्टी का जिक्र अतीक अहमद ने अपने हलफनामे में किया है कि इस प्रॉपर्टी को इसने साल 2006 में जुलाई महीने में इसका जो आगे का हिस्सा है वो उसने 30 लाख रुपए में खरीदा था। आरोप है कि अतीक अहमद यहां पर कब्जा करने के लिए अपने गुर्गों को उसने भेजा था, जिनके पास अत्याधुनिक हथियार थे, लाठी डंडे थे, और यहां पर देखिए तोड़फोड़ की गई थी, और तब से ये हिस्सा उसी तरीके से उसी हालात में बना हुआ है।
Even as tales of his loot and extortion continue to shock the nation, a parallel investigation is underway to crack the Atiq murder mystery. The 3 shooters, Sunny Singh, Lavlesh and Arun, have now been sent to police remand for 4 days. India Today has accessed the UP police questionnaire for the shooters. The assailants will be asked about the motive behind shooting Atiq and his brother, how they got their hands on weapons that each cost 7 lakh rupees. They will also be grilled on how they knew Atiq's location and also why they raised Jai Shri Ram slogans. Finally, the police will also ask the shooters why they didn't carry their mobile phones with them when they carried out the attack. 22 seconds and 18 bullets ended 40 years of Atiq's Mafia Raj. But only after a detailed investigation will it come to light as to why Atiq was killed. With Simar Chawla in Prayagraj and Himanshu Mishra in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
You're watching the Business Today show. I'm Sakshi Batra, and first up, the top news we're tracking for you tonight. University of Cambridge study issues a big warning for India, says heat waves could stunt economic growth, claims the government is not taking the effect into account in its planning and forecasts. Market snap, a 3-day losing streak ended the day in the green after a day of volatile trade. Banking stocks lead the rally while pharma stocks underperform. All eyes remain on underwhelming corporate earnings. And Tim Cook woos the national capital with an Apple store in a mall in South Delhi. We've seen enthusiasts line up for hours for a moment with the Apple CEO. Microblogging site Coup announces big layoffs. Reports say the Twitter rival has dismissed 30% of its workforce. Move comes as the company struggles to raise cash amid global economic turmoil. Twitter to remove legacy blue ticks starting today to comply with Elon Musk's 420 deadline. The only blue ticks left will be those with Twitter Blue subscription. And Apple has opened its first store in Delhi. Hundreds lined up at a mall in South Delhi for an early entry into the store, as well as to catch a glimpse of Apple CEO Tim Cook. Business Today Television brings you an exclusive on-ground report from the store.
It was exactly at 10 a.m. that Apple CEO Tim Cook opened the